Yeah, you don't believe in any of that because you can't see it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we've never seen this strange, mysterious force of gravity, right, that apparently is not made out of any particles, right, because it can't, because supposedly it's objects of mass attracting each other, and if it's made out of particles, that doesn't happen. So, how does this faith of this mysterious force called gravity curving the water into a sphere, right, sticking it on the side of a larger ball, how does that make sense?
If mass attracts mass,
And mass does not attract mass.
uh, yeah, but that's what our the
Uh,
common science says.
yeah,
No, sorry,
common science.
curvature. Yeah. Mass, a large mass bends time and space, or space time, or
No, it doesn't do that either.
yeah, it does.
Can you prove that?
Everything we see when we
Can you
look
prove
at the universe or look out to space.
That's a no. Thank you.
No, but that's what we see.
No, you see the same stars that you see every single day, man. That's all you see when you look at this. That's the only thing you've ever seen forever is the same stars up in the sky, man. Stop telling me about bendy space time. Seriously.
Yeah, but if
Yeah, but
okay,
yeah,
yeah,
but
okay, yeah, hear me out. Um, Moon is fairly small, but if
how fairly small is it?
like the sixth of us of the planet of our planet. Uh, well, let's say if there's a star.
What if I told you that the Earth was bigger than the moon? Would that freak you out?
No, Earth is bigger than the
What if
moon.
I told,
The
what
moon,
if I told you that Earth was bigger than the sun and the moon? Would that freak you out?
yes.
Does it look like the sun and the moon are bigger than us when you look up at the sun and the moon?
No, because they're very far away.
Are you sure about that? How far away is the sun?
8 light minutes, whatever that,
Eight.
whatever that's in your.
Are you saying that because that's how long it takes a photon to go from the sun to the Earth is 8 minutes?
Yes.
Is that what you're going? Yeah. Do you know what the actual distance is that it takes that 8 minutes? It's one astronomical unit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you know how much an astronomical unit is?
Yeah, the medium distance from.
No, it's a specific number on this one, man. You went from an 8 light year or 8 light minutes to an astronomical unit. Now I want you to actually tell me what the astronomical unit is. It's the distance between the Earth and the Sun. You can say I don't know. But an answer will be needed. Did we lose you?
No, he's got to Google the answer real quick. Brian, just give him a sec.
Give him a second. All right.
No, I mean, I just
Brian, an
asked him a
amazing.
question, right? Like, if he claims to be an atheist, because, oh, I can't see God. Well, you can't see gravity either. You could just see maybe the effects. You can argue that, but you can't see gravity itself.
Can't see curvature either.
Yeah.
Brian, that's the one question that a Glober cannot answer, and they always deflect by saying refraction or refraction, right? Everything else is mathematical or impressing with brilliance or bullshit, but they can never define the curvature. Never.
Man, did we just lose Bill? What happened to Bill?
I think he's doing a martini shaken, not stirred.
Man, 2025 technology, man. It's a good thing we didn't have this crappy stuff in 1969 when we went to the moon and made phone calls and played golf and such. Right? Am I right? Am I right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry, guys. Net switch or something.
So I can't remember my question. Does anybody remember my question?
Yes. How far is the sun from the Earth?
Oh, there it is. No, I wanted you to tell me what an astronomical unit was.
It's a bit short of 150 million kilometers, whatever
What is?
that is in miles. I
Do you
don't
know
know.
how much that is in miles?
160 is one. Wait, 160 kilometers is 1 mile. Wrong, 100 miles. So that's 150 million.
Is that going to equate to 93 million miles?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, short of 100
Sure about
million
that?
miles.
Because
Yeah.
you said that really fast, like you knew it was 93 million miles, like you just didn't want to say that.
No, I don't know miles. I
You
don't
don't
work
know.
with miles.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I work in miles, so.
Yeah. And I try
Oh,
to
So one
interpret.
of us is going to have. So one of us is going to have to convert this to miles.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that part.
I appreciate that.
1.609 is the rate.
So you think the sun is 93 million miles away and 400 times bigger than the moon, which is 400 times further away than the moon to make it look the exact same size?
I'm saying that the moon is a sixth of. Uh,
I'm talking about the sun and the
yeah,
moon. I asked you.
I've never done the sun-moon
I said
conversion.
I said something crazy. I said I want to refresh your memory there. I said something crazy like, "Would you believe the Earth is bigger than the moon?" And you said no. And then I said, "Would you believe the Earth is bigger than the sun and the moon?" And you said no. And
Okay,
then you
then
said
I
so.
misunderstood.
There
Of
was a point where you said things so far away, but it looks like that. So then I asked
yeah,
you how far away these things were, and like the moon is like a mere 238,856 miles away, while the sun is 93 million miles away, but they look the same size, don't they?
yeah,
Why is
yeah,
that? How's that? That's pretty lucky. That's pretty convenient, right?
yeah, because the moon is closer to us,
Oh yeah, totally.
and it
Like
happens to be
like by
yeah,
like by 92.5 million miles, right? Or 92 and 3/4 million miles, actually.
hey, Soul.
Earth,
yeah.
yeah.
Just want to quickly say, do you know what the globe Earth explanation for moon phases are?
The globe.
Yeah.
Say again.
Oh, so
I've
my
never.
question was, do you know like the explanation from the globe model as to why moon phases happen? Like what causes that?
Yeah, because moon travels around the sun, around the Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and the moon is lit up by the sun, and every now and then a part of the moon is shaded by the Earth. So
Now
that's
that's
what.
what you think, right? That's what you
Yeah,
think. But actually, as
yeah,
it turns out, you got people out there that are abandoning that statement now. They're saying that actually it's not the Earth's curvature that's being projected on the surface of the moon, which is always the same. It's always the same face that we can see. Now they say that it's just the position of the Earth relative to the sun. But the sun is 400 times bigger. If there's no barrier between the moon and the sun, then what causes that shade? What causes that darkness?
but there is a barrier, the Earth.
No, well, that's what they said before, right? But even
Yeah,
assuming that that's the case, right? So, like for example, if it's 12 p.m. at night and you see a blue moon, right? Well, not a blue moon. I'm sorry, a full moon. You look
yeah,
up 90 degrees, above you, right? Vertically, you see the moon and it's full.
yeah,
So that's the surface that's technically behind the Earth, right? Although it's not exactly behind it because it's like what 394,000 miles away. That's what they say. You know about that?
mm.
So
Miles. I don't know miles, but yeah, far away.
yeah, okay. So if the surface of the moon, right, that's facing the Earth is is being obscured by the shadow of the Earth, how
Yeah.
is it that if it's behind it, how can it be lit by the sun?
But then it's not. And when it's next to the Earth, we see like 47% of it or something.
No, well, yeah, but when the moon is actually behind the Earth, right? Because remember, the Earth revolves around its own axis, right? 360 degrees. And so during the night, right,
Yeah.
wherever surface you're standing on, it's facing the opposite direction of the sun.
Yeah.
At 12 p.m., when the moon is like, for the lack of a better word, you could just say the center of the sky, right? Vertically, 90 degrees up.
Yeah.
You can see it. You can see the entire surface of the moon. It's lit up. That's the full moon. But see, the thing is that they say that the moon's surface is being illuminated by the sun's light. But
Yeah.
if it's behind the Earth, right, and you say that it's due to curvature, so how is it that the Earth's, no, I'm sorry, the sun's light can illuminate the part that's behind the Earth?
Where on Earth would you be? Where is the sun relative
Anywhere,
to?
anywhere, at any position, doesn't matter where.
I would argue that it does matter.
No. So like I'm talking nighttime. So like for example, are you in Russia?
I'm in Sweden.
Oh, okay. So let's say that entire hemisphere, let's say it's facing the opposite direction of the sun, right? So you
Yeah.
see a full moon, right?
Yeah.
It's 12 p.m. at night. You go outside, you see a full moon. How do you explain that?
Because the moon is slightly to the side of the Earth, and the sun illuminates it.
It illuminates all of it.
No, but how does light work? How does
Well, think
photons
about
work?
it.
Okay,
How, like, what would be the angle? Think about it.
no, but if it's exactly opposite,
Hmm.
then it's not visible. You have to have night skies without a moon, without a visible moon, like once a month.
Yeah. No, of course. Of course.
Yeah, like we do.
Hmm.
And
Yeah. So my point is that, like, for example, now they say, well, maybe because I was debating with this one guy, he said maybe the moon is slightly above the equator. And see, here's the thing: if the moon is slightly above the equator, you got two problems. Number one, there's no reason why, like, the bottom part of the moon, right? You could say like the southern hemisphere, if you believe it's a sphere. There's no reason why it shouldn't be why it shouldn't have Earth's cast, like Earth's shadow cast on it, right? And also, how do you explain the eclipse?
yeah, but
Because you're facing the opposite direction of the sun,
yeah,
right?
but you're creating a problem here.
No, I'm just telling you what that other guy said. I know you're not making that. You're not making that argument. I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm tossing that
Okay.
out there. The problem is because you're facing the opposite direction of the sun, there should be absolutely no way for the surface of the moon that we can all see to be illuminated by the sun if it's relatively behind the Earth
Yeah.
that you're standing on, facing that surface of the moon.
We also don't see the moon when it's between the sun and us, except if it crosses directly in between, so that we get a lunar eclipse or whatever it's called.
That'd be a solar eclipse.
That's solar eclipse. What's a lunar
Yeah.
eclipse? Maybe that. Okay, never mind.
It's a
That's
dumber
the one we
story.
had
It's a
last
dumber
week.
story.
Okay, yeah.
Lunar eclipses happen during a full moon. Solar eclipses happen during a new moon, right?
No, so solar eclipse is when the moon covers the sun, right?
That's during a new moon, right?
Yeah.
It's the positional opposite of a full moon.
Hmm.
No. solar eclipse is when the moon.
Okay, so you are geographically impaired there, a little geometrically, I should say, geometrically impaired. That one is the opposite of the other in terms of the angle. That if we're looking at a full moon, according to the Globee model, the moon is on the far side of the Earth from the sun. That's why it happens at midnight. That's when culmination occurs for you
No,
over
but
your
you can
head.
see the moon at noon. If
Yeah, but if it you don't see the moon at noon
Yeah,
over
not
your
noon,
head at
midnight.
culmination.
Midnight.
That's when a new moon occurs, right? Because it's in the same angle in the sky as the sun. So allegedly, you're not allowed to be able to see it because the sun is just too bright. Yet at the same time, people can't slap a solar filter on that takes out the spectrographics of the sun coming at you, so that what is remained is the light coming from the moon. Nobody's ever shown us a picture of the moon during a new moon in the sky next to the sun. It's simply not there. It's not in the visible light spectrum anymore. It's
nobody
not a
care
physical body.
if the moon is between the Earth and the sun, then the illuminated part of the moon is on the far side of the moon from our perspective.
Okay. So you're making this big assumption that it is the sun that lights the moon,
Yes.
right? Okay, so let me draw this across you. I got 2 points to deal with here. One, are you up to date, or have you ever looked at any spectrographic data and compared the sun's spectrographic signature with the moon's?
Spectrographic signature. No,
Yeah,
probably not.
like
No.
the different wavelengths and the spreads of the wavelengths that come off each of those two bodies. So it's clear to me that you are totally unaware that they're not the same. That there is a different spectrographic spread of light coming off the moon than what is emitted by the sun.
Yeah, but I would assume
You're
that.
not aware of that.
No, but I would assume
Pardon?
that sun
Why
sends.
would you assume that?
Yeah, because if sun sends sun's rays to the moon, they bounce off the moon, and depending on what material is on the moon, then it'll change.
Okay. Let's do a quick thought experiment here. Let's say you've got a white wall in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay. You're 10 feet from the wall and you're looking at the wall. There's no other light in the room except for a light behind you that happens to be covered in a red plastic filter shield. So only red light is coming out of this light,
Yes.
hitting the wall, and then coming back to you. And now you see the wall lit up by this red light. What color is the wall?
Red.
Right. Okay, now let's put that back on the moon. We've got the light with a spectrographic signature coming from the sun. Certain wavelength bands, more than others, very specific bands, are hitting the moon and then coming back to us. And it's not the same as the ones hitting, coming out of the sun. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
it's totally different from the replicable model.
It's
So
what bounces off the moon that we see.
So the only conclusion that you can draw there is that the light coming from the moon is not the light coming from the sun, because it is a different spectrographic signature.
Yes, it's the same light, but
No,
depending
it's not the same
on
light. You
the
see,
same photo.
the moon is supposed to be this big dusty gray ball, right? This big dusty gray rock. You saw all your astronaut friends on there dancing around on it, playing golf, driving their SUV, right? Their little 4x4, having a good time in there.
I
Okay,
hear you.
so you look down and there's only one color. It's this dusty gray shit, right? So there is no color of the moon that's going to be coming back to you and changing the spectrographic signature that's coming from the sun if a reflection is taking place. And I'm telling you, according to the data, it's not. It's not the same light coming from the moon. And I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it to you. Okay. Here's the second part of what I wanted to ask you. Are you aware that the moonlight coming at us at night, it's midnight, it's a full moon, there's all this white light coming down here, bright enough that you can read by it. Okay. Notice that when the astronauts are standing up there on the moon playing golf and having a good time, and the sun is out for them, they're everything they got there, all the structures of ships are casting shadows on the moon. They themselves standing there. There are shadows of themselves on the moon while we're taking these pictures of these guys on the moon, right? The
Yeah.
sun is out, but somehow it's just nowhere near as bright as it has to be for us down here, 240,000 miles away, that we can read a book by it, that it's that freaking bright. You know, that this doesn't add up. And I've got one third element for you here to consider, Mr. Soul, about the moon. Are you aware that, you know, obviously when in the daytime, when you're looking at the sun and you're standing out there in your yard and the sun is hitting you, you get warm, right?
Yeah.
You get hot, you get a sunburn,
Yeah.
you can, it's a problem. You can cook things with it, right?
Yeah.
Solar ovens, all that cool stuff. Okay, great. Well, at midnight during a full moon, where it's just the moon in the sky, no sun, that the moonlight actually has a physical cooling effect on the things that it hits. Are you aware of that?
No. Why would it be cooling?
Well, I don't know. You tell me why, but the fact is that it is. And not only have I conducted specific experiments using six differently painted colored pieces of steel, where I take an IR thermometer and I check their temperatures individually, one set of six pieces that are in the moonlight, one set of six pieces painted identically that are not in the moonlight, and you got between 1.5 and 3 degrees centigrade difference in the ones that are being hit by moonlight are colder because of the moonlight that's hitting them. Are you aware of that?
No.
Okay, so Mr.
And
Soul,
I'm
you see the
I'm
problem here.
I'm gonna do that.
I think you should check that out
Yeah.
because the problem here is that, and we're no different. I'm just saying that you're still suffering from this problem, and we're not. Ever since we were born, we were fed this plethora of lies that all seem to somehow pseudo sensibly stick together and make logical sense to us because they've been repeated to us so many times. In fact, we were brought through an indoctrination system through education and trained to regurgitate these lies for the reward, for the prize. You get to graduate, you get your skin, you get a degree, you get qualification. Now you get paid more. We have all been trained like little puppy dogs to quietly accept and never question anything about the mainstream narrative that we've been sold. And I mean sold because just like you, I'm sure you went to university too, like I did, and we paid for these lies. Okay. The difference between yourself and many of the people you're speaking to here, including myself, is that we see through the lies. We're looking at the empirical. We're thinking for ourselves. We're looking at independent information separate from what has been handed to us by the mainstream. And we're seeing an entirely different story about reality. Entirely different. And I think it's more than about time that you actually seriously looked into it. Because right now, to me, you just look like one of the mesmerized masses. You know what I mean? You're a copper top.
Yeah,
And I'm kind of
question.
embarrassed for you that you are this age in your life and you haven't taken the time to actually open up your mind, get objective about it, and seek the truth. Because when you do, you're going to find the same things that we did.
Question. Who profits from this lie?
Okay, now that is a red herring and totally irrelevant to everything I just said.
Yeah, but
Why would they
So-
lie? Why would they lie?
So
Why would they lie is one of the most infamous logical fallacies behind which people continue to choose to hide in their own ignorance. Okay, people, I hear it all the time. Oh, they'd never do that. They'd never do chemtrails. They'd never perpetuate war. They would never poison us. They would never, you know what I mean? They would never infect our food. They would never blow up the plants. They would never cut off our food supply. They would never put a mask on us. They would never try to vaccinate us with something that's going to kill us. They'd never do that.
I
When the
agree.
truth is,
I agree.
the truth, Soul,
Yeah.
is that you, a regular normie, You know what I mean? Somebody with a soul, like you
Yeah.
have in your name, somebody who understands the value of good versus evil, somebody who knows which side of the fence to play on that's actually going to work out better for you in the long term, that it's better to be good than bad. This is the golden rule we were also always taught. That part makes natural sense to us. That is what they are also using against us psychologically.
Yes.
They are hiding
That's
behind that,
stop,
and
stop, stop, stop,
you
stop,
are
stop.
subscribing. You
Yep,
are
yeah, but
subscribing to that.
that's my question. Who are they?
Again, I recommend that you check my bio out. And if you'd like answers to that question, by all means, check my bio and get on Telegram. Go by the Stone Cold Truth channel, for example. And I cite my own channel because it has about 200,000 posts, which are there for you to read to get the answer to that very question.
It's a free
Take
book.
some time and educate yourself. I find it utterly amazing that normies walk around with cell phones, smartphones in their pockets, and computers connected to the net at their desktop every day of their lives. They have connections for free to the answers to all of these questions, yet they never spend the time to go and get the answers. This is my
So
invitation to you to go ahead and do precisely that. Check my bio out. Just right click me. It's real easy to do. It's just as free as anything else you do on the net. I give away all my information for free. And also check out my BitChute channel if you would like some more cosmographical, cosmological, astronomical, geophysical reasons, relativistic reasons for questioning the narrative. Because what I have spent a lot of time doing is taking the normie mainstream assumptions, not just assumptions, but assertions and formulae. And I plug them in with real world figure just to see where we end up if we really do take them at their word. And you will be absolutely flabbergasted at the data I present. Again, check my bio out, check my BitChute channel out, and get on Telegram. Go check out the Stone Cold Truth channel. That will lead you to a lot of other places where you can get those answers. Stop asking to be fed the truth. Go and get it for yourself.
Oh,
but Stone, you didn't tell me who's doing it all. You didn't tell me who's perpetrating this lie.
I don't have
Oh.
time to list all the people involved.
I could
It's
just
just
say a
amazing.
name. I could just say a name. It's the Rothschilds. That's it. It's them.
Well, they're a good bunch of the players for sure. Yeah, and the Rockefellers and the DuPonts and the Essex and
Orsini's.
everybody, on and on and on and on and on. There are so many. The evil game is the biggest game on earth, and there are a lot of players. Okay, you can't just point your finger at one guy and say he's to blame, unless you want to choose a mythical creature like Satan. But the
Right?
point is that all these people are playing on his side, metaphorically speaking. But the reality is that shit is very true, Soul. And I think it's about time that you stop asking people like us to give you the answer and check out the data we provide. Go and get the answer for yourself.
And why would they lie as irrelevant? Like you said, it's red herring. The fact of the matter is because you can't address the arguments that are being presented, because you don't really know your own religion that much. You want to say stupid stuff like, why would they lie? And who is they? And stuff like you want to deflect that to, like, oh, you don't want to talk about it anymore. So I understand it's something that's hard to wrap your head around. But the fact of the matter is you have been lied to. The earth is not
I
spinning. It's not curving into a ball. And we're not floating through space.
I will say to the group right now that he appears to be making good on what I'm asserting, that he has already clicked to follow me on Twitter, gang. So there's hope for this guy. He may just turn out to be sentient.
Oh, did he leave?
No, he's right here, but
well,
I'm
I'm
just
here.
saying that
I'll,
I've already got
I'll,
the notification that he's followed me and he's
So I
doing
just
what
want to
I'm
say,
asking
I want to
or
ask you one
appears to
quick
be,
thing.
and that's a good thing.
yeah.
So,
Wait, before
you
you
know,
ask that quick question, I need to ask you a quick question.
me?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. What's up?
Why does anybody lie?
Why does anybody lie?
Yeah, why would anybody lie about anything? What's the premise behind it?
It could be for multiple different premises, but one facet would be number one, ideology. Like, okay, you believe something and you want it to be true. So
No, the answer is that they have power over you.
Yeah, like to simplify what you were gonna say, because you're like, oh, there's many different reasons why. Sorry that you got muted. I'll let you finish saying what you're saying, but
Well,
I just want to say,
actually, I think you were actually asking the wrong. Saul's the one that said, "Why would they lie?" And who's
Yeah,
they?
that's Soul
Not
who said
oh,
that.
JH. Yeah, you were asking JH. It's Saul that was asking that question.
In
oh,
general, you lie to hide the truth.
yeah, like you want to have control over somebody. You want them to think a certain way, and you want to elicit that response because of that. You can make up all the excuses of why they would lie. Oh, they would lie because they want to make money. They would lie because they they're afraid of getting caught. Like all of those are all like post cursors to the original reason why they would lie, and it all comes down to one explanation: they lie because they want control. If you say, hey, did you drive my car, and I said no, and I was lying to you, the reason why I'm lying to you is because I want to control how you think, and I don't want you to think that I am doing something you don't want me to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when they say, "Oh, well, they're lying because they want money." No, no, no. They don't need money. They own the money. The money is made for us to be slaves to them. They own all the resources. They want to control the resources. They want to control what you think. They want you to think that you're an animal on a farm, and you're nothing more than cattle. And if they want to slaughter you and send you off to war, they can.
Y-
That's what they want you to
Yeah,
think.
but the thing is, this I hear all the time. They want this. They want it. They do. They. And I've never really understood who they are. I've heard a bunch of theories, a bunch of names. Still, so it
the
is.
the
So,
people who who have a total lineage to the King of England that became all of our presidents of the United States, all the leaders of the world that have this Antarctica treatment or treaty down there that they're not breaking, but they're having wars in here. Who's they? The people who are controlling the world, man. That question right there is one of the worst. That the why would they lies and who's doing it. Liars lie for why ever liars lie. I mean
yeah, I
that
just want to
question is
say,
like the worst.
brother, like, I don't know who asked that question, right? Like, why would anybody lie? So I was like talking literally like any person. That's
Well, that's why any person would lie. Even a child would lie because they don't want to get caught doing something. They want you to think that nothing has changed, they
To
want to control the
preserve
way you
the
think. You're like,
illusion.
oh, how could a child control what I think? Well, if they're lying to you, they're not letting you know what's really going on. So they are controlling what you think. So when a child lies to you and you believe it, guess what? You've just been manipulated, controlled by a child.
yeah,
Period.
yeah, exactly.
So to say, oh, well, like, people would lie for many different reasons. No, there's only one reason why they lie. It's
It's
for
a really
control.
naive question.
But once you realize that people lie for control, now we can get down to the nitty gritty. We can go and find out what they're lying about. We can even try to look into to see who are the liars.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
So
know,
it comes down to like the way you perceive things, right? The way you think about things. Is that what you're saying?
well, right now we can say
No.
Einstein's a liar. He's a big fat liar. I mean, so there's one guy
Well,
that's totally
he actually
lying.
admitted it later in life too, so we don't even have to conjecture about that one.
Yeah,
Uh,
see.
It comes down to what you perceive. I mean, like, I don't know. For me, that's such a weird way of putting it, man. Like, if I want to perceive anything, I just want to perceive the truth.
No, I'm just talking about so lying. So like for example, how do they control you? Well, number one, we're all thinking, right? Would you agree that we're all thinking?
Some are, some aren't.
Yeah, so like, thoughts create your reality. So
yeah,
if you can
I'm not
control
obviously.
No, no, thoughts do not create your reality.
thoughts don't create reality.
No, they don't create all of reality.
Okay. Well, regardless, would you agree at least that, if you can control the way somebody perceives something, the way somebody thinks, you can control their entire lives?
Yeah,
Yeah, you can
everybody
control
right
their
now
lives.
thinks. Yeah, right. Like right now, everybody thinks they're free, but you're totally a slave, and nobody knows it. So yeah, that's totally.
Exactly.
When you get born inside of a prison, you don't realize you're a prisoner.
But
There you go.
your thoughts create your reality, right?
Well, they have a profound
Why the
influence on
Matrix
the
is actually
direction
a
you're going in
documentary.
reality.
I'm sure there's a mutual reality, right?
And several realities.
You are the people you hang with, the books you read, and the music you listen to, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Your whole
When it
personality.
so when it comes to an argument like the one you're posing now, I personally prefer to avoid, like, categorically waxing philosophically in that direction. I find it incredibly counterproductive. Instead, I suggest you stick to the empirical and you'll get a lot farther in life.
I mean, because when you start focusing on the crap of why would they lie and who is they, we're actually obfuscating away from the point that they're saying that we're spinning and we're not. All right, so George Fidel Airy is a liar because he shelved that experiment that proved that we're not
No, I
flying in.
disagree.
And whoever came up with the whole Big Bang theory, that atheists think that they came from nothing, and the whole
Maître.
evolution story, that guy Darwin, he's a liar.
The Catholic priest.
You know, all that Hubble's a liar. Michio Kaku, he admittedly admits that he's a liar. He says, that gravity, we lied to you. Stuff doesn't fall, the earth rises up to it. Yeah, he legit is on film, on tape, saying we lied to you.
Well, there you
So
go.
who's lying? Everybody that's teaching you everything, your whole schooling system is indoctrination to give you the information that the government wants you to know, the way they want you to know it.
I do think that the whole schooling system is fucked up, and
Well, there you go.
You're
Keep on
halfway
with that
there.
thought process. Dig into it.
yeah, and I'm like half of it is fucked up. Everything is obviously not, and then maybe this part I haven't realized for myself that is.
I mean, you said you were an atheist, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me kind of get down to your level just for a bit, right? Not that I believe this, if anybody's religious here, right? But let me just kind of, for a moment, let me get down to your level. So, would you agree that people in the past, right, created hierarchies? Like you could say the Catholic Church, you could say the Church of England, you could say whatever.
Yeah.
Would you agree that the people who started these churches and who promoted, these narratives, people say, religion was created for control. Are you one of those people that say that? Do you agree?
Uh, oh, and it's not a yes or no. I would say yes, obviously.
Okay, so
Wait, 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 wait,
if
wait,
in the,
wait, wait, wait. Just to clarify, yes, control, because who doesn't want control? But
yeah,
also, in order to the society to work by the same rules. So if we believe in our valley where we live, if all obey the sun god, the other valley they can obey the river god, for all we care. But if we obey the same, we follow the same rules, our society will work. We can work
mhm.
as a united. We can work united.
Yeah, so it was just kind of like for the sake of argument, not that I really believe that because you're right, you
Yeah,
need order.
yeah,
Um, So my whole point is this: like, if I'm purposely stooping down to the atheist level, so we know that in the past, right, it can be conjectured that religion has been used to control the minds of the masses, right? Sometimes they won't let you read certain passages of whatever holy scripture.
yeah,
The priest class tells you what the doctrine is, and they want you to submit to it. So you would say that that's for control. If it could happen back then during the medieval ages, right, during
yeah.
the feudal times, why can it happen in the modern day? But this time, with like a secular religion like heliocentrism.
Point. Good point.
Yeah, just saying, why would they lie? There you go.
On the atheism front, I would confront you with a single skill testing question, and it comes long before we talk about who, merely the what of the situation. This is a logical puzzle for you to solve, Soul, and I think you'll be able to solve it in about 2 thoughts when you actually turn your engine on. Okay, everything you experience right now exists, right, in the physical sense.
Yes.
Well, just like every other physical thing you understand about the world, in whatever state that it is in when you experience it, it was created,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Everything,
Yeah.
everything was created, including you by your mom and dad.
Yeah.
You were created. Well, so were your mom and dad. And then there's the chicken and the egg problem, which ensues from that mathematical problem right there. Okay, so when we look at the simple skill testing question, it is that everything was created. Therefore, there is a creator. That's just the simple logical truth. And frankly, I find the entire concept of atheism an intelligence test. And I need you to clear the bar on this one. Okay? Simply recognize that all matter that you see, and even the stuff you don't see because it's outside the visual spectrum of what your eyes can take in,
Yeah.
everything was created in the strictest sense. That means, simply as a part of the logical process, there is a creator. I'm not talking about who.
No,
I just mean that there is one.
no,
And
but
that's what you
you're
need to come to grips with.
yeah, but you're creating another chicken and egg. Who created the creator?
No, we don't need to get into who. You see, that's the problem.
No, but if there is a create,
That's where you fail the test. That's where you fail the intelligence test, is when you choose to try and complicate it and negate it through excessive redundant complication.
yeah. So
Instead, you have to recognize as valid the first premise.
no, but
Okay?
you
There's no but to it. It is merely fact that everything was created. Therefore, there is a creator. And that blows atheism off the shelf as a possibility right there if you're thinking straight.
I'm fine with 99% of it. But if there is, if everything
Okay.
is if everything is created by a creator, who created the creator?
But you see, now that
And
is the
now we're
excessive layer of pointless red herring complication
no, but
that is unnecessary.
no, but you just
It
ignore
doesn't matter who.
it.
You see, you seem to think that your question is somehow serving to validate an atheistic point of view.
No,
It
but
doesn't.
you can say
All it actually does is reinforce the first premise, because maybe something did create the creator. Maybe that's true too,
yeah.
but that doesn't change the first premise,
Hey,
right?
Stone, doesn't it fall in the line with like splitting an atom? Like eventually you get down to a point where you just can't split it anymore, and the
Yeah,
idea of
yeah.
continuing to split it is redundant and useless.
Yeah, the mathematical implications of the irreducible minimum apply to atomism, and also, and in turn, effectively destroy the entire premise of atomism. And that's why atoms, as we have been told they exist, actually don't exist. This is why photons do not exist. This is why the double slit experiment is a demonstrable lie. This whole thing, this entire material model that we have been fed, is a lie at the most basic level. This is why I'm
But
only
Stone,
dealing with the most basic question and just seeing if he can clear that single hurdle without asking another rhetorically nonsensical question, in seeking
Stone,
some kind of way to invalidate the first
Stone.
premise.
I wasn't trying to get like that deep into like what is an atom and what's a particle and all of that stuff. I was just using that as an example from, like when we learned in the past, like, if you split something in half, you'll eventually get down to something that's like useless. Like it's pointless to even continue splitting it.
Yes, the irreducible minimum.
eventually.
That's what I referred to.
And that's all. That's the point I was trying to make. I was just trying to make a lateral approach to it, just to show that
Yeah.
there's more than one way to give this explanation. Just like, like who created the creators? Like, bro, I don't know, man, but like somebody created all of this.
Well,
And I got a question though. Why are you an atheist? Why have you decided to? Are you against the idea of a creator creating anything, or you just think nothing's a better man for the job?
If there was a God that was good, and heaven for all of us, why would my kids die from in cancer? Why would half of the population of the world suffer from?
Well, because it's being run by evil people,
that's
and
just all
we do have
subjective bias. It's
yeah,
meaningless.
and as far as the cancer and stuff, it's because no one told you that the cure for cancer was discovered in 1923, and the guy won a Nobel Peace Prize in 1931, and his name is Dr. Otto Warburg. And an alkaline blood system with plenty of oxygen will kill any disease. Can't survive in it. But you didn't get that information
No,
because the system we're living in,
but
the system we're living in is it's an evil system, and it's run by the Rockefellers on that medical field there, which is a Jew, by the way.
I'm with you at the last part, but then
So anyway, that had nothing to do with God. All the problems that we have here today are not by God; they're by man. And unfortunately, they got us under a spell. They're evil. It had nothing to do with God. All right, He didn't do anything to you. It was man.
I think he's about halfway there.
100%. But then again, I love nothing more than I love animals: dogs, horses, cats, you name it. But when I look at the animal world, practically 100% of animals are born in order to get eaten by a predator.
Not really,
No,
but
I think you have the cause and effect wrong there. That is just a subjective interpretation.
no. A turtle gives birth to 300 eggs and hopes for 3 to survive. So
That is just the law of universal abundance. That has nothing to do with the odds.
that right there, that a lot more turtles survive than 3. But why they do that? Yeah, because wildlife needs to eat. It's the circle of life there.
I know.
All those turtles couldn't survive, otherwise we'd be just flooded with turtles. And animals eat other animals so that we don't have dead That's why we got vultures out there.
And
that,
I eat animals as well. So
that whole eating animals thing, I don't understand that.
no, but okay. Here's the thing. Okay,
they help keep the populations down. If they didn't, I mean, if the animals didn't eat each other or anything like that, we'd be overwhelmed with animals right now.
But
They help
every
keep their own
animal
populations
is
down.
alive. Every animal has its own existential. Every animal is its own life. If you
Okay, so you're aware of the polar bear problem that you guys have up there in the north?
now we don't have polar bears in Sweden.
No, okay, but just to the northeast of you, you're aware of the polar bear problem?
What?
That there is an incredibly oversized population of polar bears right now, such that they are actually infringing on human society even. They are a pest. And hunting gangs are being brought together to bring their numbers down so that they can put balance back into nature in that part of the world. Are you not aware of that?
No.
Another example
that
is
sounds like Greenland or something.
Well, another
No, that's
example of that
northwest.
is
I mean northeast. You should look it up, man. Get aware. Get some information.
And another example it is at is in Yellowstone. They actually introduced the wolves back into that area, and when it was before that happened, it was overrun with all wildlife. And when the wolves came back in,
yeah, there were too many
all the animals became back in tune with each other.
And I understand the balance of nature, but it's the existential fact that every life is alive.
And
Every
plants are alive too, and we eat those. I mean, everything is alive. You're right. What does that have to do with anything? That's because animals die. You don't believe in God?
You're invoking subjective interpretation, and that's where you're getting into trouble.
okay, I'll try to put it.
And I've watered plants before where like I've talked to them and sprinkling water on them, and they just seem to become like a little more livelier and happier. Like they literally seem to have some kind of an energy to them.
That's an
So
interchange with the
like,
etheric field. Yeah.
yeah, I know. I'm
And they
just
like
saying though.
classical music too. But regardless, are you saying because animals die, you don't believe in God?
If God puts animals, if God lets animals live in order to be someone else's food and die in agony, I don't know if I want to, follow
Dude,
that God.
if that's where you're at, man, you go ahead and good luck. Good luck when you die, man.
Hey,
Good
I
luck.
got a quick
So
question. So,
yeah.
do you slaughter your own animals when you eat them?
I don't. I live in the city. I could,
He doesn't care. He's an
Oh,
atheist, so it
I
so
doesn't
could
you're
matter
though.
being a
to him.
hypocrite. So you're being a
No, but
hypocrite, dude.
I could. It's
You can't sit there and say you care for the animals and then eat an animal that you didn't slaughter yourself and be proud of it.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I don't live on the countryside. I
That's a
live in the
hypocrite, man.
city. I don't have wildlife around me. I could shoot an animal and eat it.
Well, why are you eating
Uh,
animals anyway, man? I thought you cared about them. How come you're not eating
I love
vegetables?
animals, yes, but
But they
hey,
taste
wait,
good. They're tasty though, right? That's
they're
why other animals
extremely.
eat them.
But
hey, I could offer something.
yeah, but my point is, God made 100 trillion animals, and 999,999 of them He created so that another animal can eat them.
Are you okay with eating fish?
Yeah, sure.
Why?
They're
Well, you
alive.
know what?
No,
Can I
I'm
offer something
denying
here, if you don't
God,
mind?
not.
Hold on a minute, real quick. So go ahead, new perspective.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that the issue here might be helped if we're not focusing on necessarily like the idea that he's like, rooting for the animals and God wouldn't kill the animal. His point, I think, more is how would there be a God? And I think it's conflated with some of the ideas in the biblical God context, where it's an infallible God. It's a God that has control over every single thing. He can grant wishes or ignore wishes, and that kind of what do you call it? Anthropomorphizing of the God. And I'm not saying that's not the kind of God it is. I don't know, right? But if there's a medium between where he's at as an atheist, it's got a lot of the doctrine of the scientism involved with where he came from, right? Which we all were there at one point, not necessarily atheists, but we all thought we were on a spinning ball at one point, right? And that's the power of this realization that he hasn't gotten to yet, obviously, because once you realize that you're not on a spinning ball, then some of these things are taken a little bit more seriously as far as how this whole thing came to be and whether it was a creation from a God outside of the creation itself or not isn't necessarily provable, even if that's the case, right? And I would say at the very least, everything is connected to that source, whatever that all creative source is. That we are constantly creating more people, like you came from your parents, like someone pointed out. It's constantly in creation and growing, and we are a creation. Now, a lot of people will say that that's pantheism, and it'll be like a derogatory. Oh, that sounds pantheistic, as if that's like some kind of a dig. But I would say at the very least, everything is an intelligent creation. Whether it came from an outside creator or not isn't necessarily important to start with. You realize that we're all connected through this intelligent source code. That's something that's undeniable. I think if you try to convince anyone
even if they're an atheist, that there's no universal consciousness. If you said, I can prove there's no universal consciousness, almost anyone in their right mind might say that's unprovable. It does seem like there's something that's connecting all of us, some kind of an intelligence that we all share, right? And maybe we're a microcosm of the larger organism at the very least, which may have flaws. It may not be able to control who dies and who doesn't die, whether animals get eaten, or whether, maybe it's just that it needs both sides. It can't just be all good, can't be all evil. It can't have those kind of choices, just like we can't always be one thing and not another, right? That balance, that contrast, that's what makes up life, and that you won't have any light without the dark. You won't have any dark without the light. It's that kind of like,
wrong.
thing.
If I was an almighty God and I would create
I'm not
a
telling
world,
you you're God.
no,
I'm not
if
saying
I
you're
was,
God. Oh, if you were him,
no,
okay.
no, if I was
I'm not
an
saying
almighty,
that. Well, that go ahead.
yeah, I
I'm
understand.
taking that out of it, right? Like, say everything is God, right? And God didn't have to create anything. It's just God. God is everything at the very least.
Now we're getting closer because I'm not
Yeah.
denying. But just if I'm saying, if I was an almighty God, I would create a world. There would not be cancer. There would not be children dying by the
Bro, are
age
you
of
kidding?
3.
God did create that world. That's the thing. God did create that world. Who messed it up was man. Man messed it up. Like I said,
Yeah, and
we
man
have
was.
90 new diseases now with all of our modern medicine that we never had. There was a time when we didn't. No one knew what heart disease was. Man, this is a man-made invention from
Yep.
Rockefeller and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there was no 1802 heart epidemic. There was no 1507 liver disease epidemic. There were none of these epidemics. All right, this is all modern medicine. All right, this is the Rockefellers. As I told you before, the cure for cancer was discovered in 1923. Got a Nobel Peace Prize in 1931. His name is Dr. Otto Warburg, who discovered
Nice.
that a highly oxygenated system with an alkaline blood system with plenty of oxygen will kill cancer. Cancer cells cannot live in it, and it will kill every single disease. You will never get sick. You'll never have a disease if you have oxygenated blood and an alkaline blood system, and don't take vaccines.
Hey, Dave, can
Hey,
you mute up when
Brian.
you're not talking?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I got wind. Let me just say something real quick, if you can hear me right now, real quick, to what Brian was saying. So that's okay, Brian. You're not. What you're saying is great, and yeah, on top of that, there's other cancer, whatever cures you could put it as, or different ideas about what cancer actually is. If it's a fungus, and how we should actually try to treat it, and maybe there's even baking soda is proposed as a possible,
100%.
getting rid of all that, right? Yeah.
You can you get that boron or borax laundry soap. It's got boron in it. You can take a picture of that. Put it in your water. That'll cure cancer. Like I said, baking soda cure cancer. Have you ever heard of soursop? And there's this one little plant out there. It's called the dandelion. It grows out in your front yard. It cures cancer as well. Also, it's a heart medication. It has vitamins A and K in it.
Yeah,
It's an
so stop killing the dandelion.
anti-inflammatory. It's what I'm saying, man. It's an anti. You can
And we
use it.
got Royal Raymond Rife with his 99% success rate, with the frequency that he was getting rid of all kinds of diseases, including cancer, electrification of the blood.
Cancer didn't get here because of God or anything like that. This is all man-made stuff. And that's what I'm trying to tell you, man. This has nothing to do with God. It's about the evil men that are here that have turned us away. That's why you're an atheist. They turned you away from God. The whole spinny space ball is to turn us away from God. So you think you're an insignificant speck of dust on a blue marble in a galaxy that God tucked away in the middle or the corner of the universe that everybody forgot about. But that just simply isn't the case. The fact of the matter is God created this world. You're something special. You have a soul. You're a light being, and you're immortal. And all you got to do is, not reject God.
Amen. And Brian, on top of that, you wouldn't at the same time try to say that the reason people die in general is only because of man, because when you think about it, you can't just have everything always live. Like, what if you never shed any skin, right? Or there was nothing in your body that ever died, right? And you're the organism, and everything has to recycle, eventually, right? It's not just because of man that people die or animals die. It's because there's a cycle to everything, and everything lives on in it, back to source when it goes away, and whatever else you need to, microzyma is another thing that I could go into and bring up and drop a bunch of links for, which shows that there's an intelligent node of light at the heart of every cell that makes it pleomorphic and able to grow into whatever it needs to grow into. Like if the body's forming and there's some cells that are making the heart and some that are making the brain, well, they have to be intelligently connected to know what their duty or what their part in the whole bigger picture is within that organism, and that's an intelligent code. And they try to this sounds like pseudoscience, but they tried to destroy microzyma, and they could not do it, allegedly, with the most extreme means. And so Antoine Bouchamp is the one who originally was credited with talking about or seeing the microzyma through these microscopes that were better than anything at the time. And then other people followed up on his work. And it shows that there's like an intelligence to the smallest divisible, whatever, like you guys were talking about earlier, like an atom has like a reducible, how'd you say it sound? A reducible complexity or reducible,
The irreducible
whatever it was,
minimum?
irreducible minimum, right? And at that irreducible minimum is proposed then as what they call microzyma. And Antoine Bouchamp was at the heart of the germ theory versus terrain theory against Pasteur back in the day. And they, of course, had the political backing on Pasteur. And Antoine Bouchamp was extracted from every encyclopedia. And he had pages of credentials to fill up the encyclopedia. This guy, and then on top of that, there's other people that followed up and called them somatids, but they could not destroy these things. And it's almost like, matter can't be created or destroyed. And who knows if there was a beginning? I've even put that out there. It doesn't matter, right? We are a creation. We are an intelligent creation that's all connected through this source intelligence code at the very least. And I think our friend here was kind of saying that at least he could accept. Is that not true?
Hey, Soul, are you there? I think he's gone.
No, he's
Well,
still
at
You
least
there.
did
the
a
audience
number,
got to
bro.
hear
You
that.
did a number on him, man. He
No, I
couldn't
think
take
he's
it.
here.
Oh,
I think he's here.
He's still there.
Are you
Yeah.
here still?
Hey, Soul, are you still there? I don't know if you got all of that, but I was kind of riffing on the idea that there might be a source code intelligence at the heart of every cell that's all connected. Can you at least go there?
Are you with us, Soul?
He's tripping out. He's like, "Oh my God, you're right."
Well, we gave him a few things to think about.
There's a
mission
lot to think
accomplished.
about there, definitely. Threw a lot at him right there. While he's cooking on that, and his brain's trying to, cool down from all that information he just got. What's up, Orwilliam?
What's going on, guys? What up, man of Stone?
Hey, man.
What's
How you
going on, guys? It's been a minute, man. I'm hanging in there, bro. Uh, going through the struggle. Sheepdog, what's cracking, bro? No, I was just listening to that. Okay, so as a recovering atheist, I'll start it with that. I used to kind of to struggle with the same type of like low vibration shit that these people seem to struggle with, right? If it's the if question, and then you can just fill in the fucking blank, and it could be anything. If
Mhm.
God were real, why would cancer exist? Why would children suffer? Why would Israel, control the world? Why would people get bombed? Why would this? Why would that? Right?
Yeah,
Like it's an endless line
everything, bro.
of
You can literally say, if there was a
questions.
God, why would my toe get stubbed when I wake up in the morning?
All you're doing is questioning
No,
free
and
will.
literally, you could literally, continue endlessly with the what if or why if and so, I was hemmed up in that, dude. Like I said, as a recovering atheist, because I'm not there anymore, bro. I fell into that trap, and I've talked to Brian about this. I've talked to people about this in spaces. Everybody has their own thing that kind of snaps them out of the funk. And for me, like, I think it was 2008, Al Gore, that fucking piece of shit, Inconvenient Truth, dude. I was like crying about the polar bears, and which is funny because we're talking about polar bears. I'm like a fucking 24-year-old man at this point. Got no direction in life. I have no fucking direction, no guidance. Didn't really have a family, and I'm completely and totally like it's got its hooks in me, bro. Like, all right, so this is my life now. I'm just gonna be sad, and I'm gonna be a protester, and I'm gonna wave flags because it's gonna give me meaning in life, right? And all this other shit. And fast forward, maybe a year, I'm working with a guy in a fucking warehouse, right? This is a dead end job. I got nothing going on in my life. It's literally the only way I can continue to keep staying drunk because I don't know nothing about life, right? I'm an atheist at this point, and I'm like, fuck the world. Al Gore's right. Um, we're gonna lose everything if I don't fucking save the polar bears. That whole shit, right? So I'm working with this dude in maintenance, and he likes to listen to talk radio. I don't know. I know nothing about any of this shit, and he's listening to Rush Limbaugh. I worked with this dude for like 4 months, and dead ass Rush Limbaugh erased that shit from me because and hear me out, okay? So I'm not chilling for fucking conservative talk radio or any of that. I'm just giving my testimony. This man and what he was talking about at the time changed my perspective. He gave me a different way to just view life. If you hold your hand up with all your fingers flat, directly parallel to your eyes, it looks like a fucking straight line, right? All four of your fingers thumb tucked. And if you just shift your perspective a little bit, oh, well, look at that, right? So that man and his words changed the way that I viewed my life, the world that I existed in. And kind of,
I don't
I
know,
mean,
man.
for
Sounds
lack of
like a
a better
glober,
way to
bro.
put it,
Sounds like a glober.
no, but for lack of a better way to put it, man, we call it red pilling now, but it just kind of broke the fucking spell,
No, no, no. I'm
right?
talking
And
about
now I
like, okay,
started,
so if he's saying, hey, you got your fingers here, it looks like a straight line, right? But then you look at it from another direction, you see all this. So it's like, oh, the horizon is actually curved despite the fact that we see it straight.
no, 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 that's not what I'm saying at all, man. Perspective is everything, I
Yeah,
guess is the
joke.
point that I'm getting
It's
at,
just a
right?
joke. Yeah.
And, no, I know. But like, so that shit, I was lost, bro. Like they had their hooks in me. I could have ran down that atheist fucking clown hole for the rest of my life and been like, what if, like, why, why did I stub my toe? Why is, why is my, why is my water bill so high? It's because God hates me. You know what I mean? And that's the endless cycle people get stuck in. And we deal with a lot of these people from the fucking globularist community. These people, like, what the fuck, dude? So I guess I'll shorten it up here real quick, but like 2008, 2009, man, just random happenstance working with some dude I didn't even want to fucking work with. He had his radio on, and 2 months later, like the scales and the blinders fell off my eyes, and I started to just think for myself because I was honestly being controlled by the system, and I had no idea, right? So atheism and this system of control, with the Rockefeller education system, the whole 9 yards, all that shit ties together, and it came to a head for me through Rush Limbaugh, ironically. Um, where I'm at now, man, fuck.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just the whole atheism thing, dude. I like I say, recovering atheist, dude. But I'm not recovering like I'm over it. But I've been through that shit, and I get it because I was there. And I don't know, man.
so I assume you didn't come across flat Earth when you were 11, like me, right?
No, fuck no, dude. I was 32. I'm
32.
40. I'm gonna be 43 this year.
Okay.
So we're going on a decade. But
I'm 22.
no,
Just, I came across this stuff
uh,
during the golden age, man. Like when YouTube wasn't censoring stuff.
that was dude, when the Amazing Racist was still allowed to talk about the Jews.
Yeah,
Yeah, good time.
good times. Good times.
But no, all I was saying, because I was listening to Soul Talk, was just like, I've been there, but I'm not there anymore. And like I hear a younger version of myself in this man and many other people. And it's really just it's very, very lazy. It's low energy. It doesn't require any critical thought. It's just I want to point a finger and ask questions that can't be answered.
Does anyone else?
If God existed, why would fill in the blank is literally like the philosophy of atheists.
Well,
Like
but you know what?
it's
I was going to say, JH, that I think that I think that's a critical question that we all come to at one point, right? Like, if God was this figure that was making decisions about every single thing that happens, then that would be one of the questions that comes to mind, right? Why would he allow one thing to happen and not another thing to happen? That's philosophically sound, right? I'm not saying that
Well,
that God is or isn't, but at
you
the
know,
very least,
when I
everything's
hear
connected through
atheists,
source, right?
yeah, when I hear atheists say that, it kind of frustrates me, right? Because first of all, even if evil things happen, and they do, right, despite the fact that there's a God, you don't know if all people have a connection with God. What if only a certain amount of people have a connection with God, right? It could be due to reincarnation. It could be due to whatever. I don't know, if you guys believe in that stuff, but
Well,
we don't
what about
know.
if he says, just real quick in reply to that, what if to that someone might say, well, how could there be something that's not connected to God? If God created everything came from God, then what wouldn't be connected to God,
It's like a
right? What do you
plant.
say to
It's like,
that?
yeah. So like that's kind of what I was gonna get into, right? So like, you know, if you grow a plant, right, it needs to grow. So we don't know if there are certain people that live amongst us that are literally new souls, that they need to experience things, they need to learn, they need to get to know themselves and other people and how to act, how to behave. They need to adjust their thoughts right so that, for lack of a better word, and I know this is going to sound a little bit, like pseudoscience, but you need to be in a certain state of like being, like your vibration, to really have a connection with God, right? And not all people have that connection, bro. Not all people do.
Well, what I was saying to Soul, if he's still here, please say something, Soul, just because I think that what was resonating a little bit with you, maybe you said we're getting closer. I don't know if he's still here. Is he here
Yeah,
still?
I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
here. I'm here.
I was just saying, Soul, like, is it like I think that for someone like yourself, and as well as others that even are, maybe more, even flat earthers, or like that are they could be considered pantheistic or whatever. They're not of the Bible God, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, as far as recognizing that we're intelligently created, or we're an intelligent creation, whether it came from a creator or not. It's that, at least that, right? You agree that we're at least intelligently connected with each other in some more metaphysical way than we can really necessarily know for sure, and on a physical proof level, right?
very
Don't you
much,
think? Yeah.
very much.
Okay,
And
so you're there. Okay,
yeah,
that's all I'm saying. At least there.
yeah, and if we, the group in the room would live in, like, what, the 1500s, you know, this wouldn't have been an issue, and we would all live in peace.
Is that right? That was that what it was like back then. We all lived in peace in the 1500s. Is what you're saying?
No, if this group of people that's here would have been in the 1500s,
I see. Okay.
post, no, not post, before science and all shit, you would all agree, and life would have been good
No. I don't understand what you're saying. Are you saying like before the Enlightenment?
before the Earth became round.
Okay, so like
Oh,
before
okay.
Isaac Newton. Okay.
Yeah.
But but
Yeah.
before they thought of it as you're saying that you're agreeing
Yeah.
with us then that the psyop of the spinning ball Earth is where we went wrong. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, wow, that's an amazing jump. Awesome. Welcome to the show.
So, just out of curiosity, have you considered that there could be a creator and that atheism might not be the best way to go? Are you
Mm,
are you still
I,
no possible way
I,
because animals eat animals?
I've searched for I've searched for it, but no, I haven't found.
Okay,
What,
let's back up.
what,
Hold on, Dave. Hold on. So let's back up to something you touched on long ago. It was another hypothetical subjective interpretation you were inducing
Yeah,
into the nature of the creator. And
yeah,
your question was to the effect of, well, if there's a creator and we're going to call him God, and I think that's going too far in terms of the analysis.
mm,
If that's up there and did the creating, why does that entity allow my kid to get cancer? Why does that entity allow a tree to fall on my house? Why does that allow somebody to get hit by a car?
yes,
Why does he let the war happen? Why does he? Okay, well, what about free will? You see, when you invoke the principle of free will and that it was given to everyone and everything, that is where you must come to the realization that, in the strictest terms, analyzing in the microcosm, event to event, the creator doesn't give a rat's ass about you, you little peon. You know what I'm
and
saying?
this, yeah,
Because
yes,
that would mean favoritism. And there has to be justification for that. And we have no hope of constructing any such thing rationally.
and that's where the
Right?
dogma comes in, right, Stone? That's where the dogma is when we start to try to say we know what the creator wants and who he likes
Well,
and who he doesn't
it's
likes and
it's
all that.
very George Carlin-esque. It comes into the bigger God theorem, and this is where we get into trouble as stupid humans. It's the bigger God theorem, where one guy says, "What? His God's bigger than our God? We must kill him." You know what I mean? It stems from the bigger dick theorem. And it gets puny humans, stupid humans into a lot of fucking trouble when they all needed to just step back and consider the principle of free will. And that when you invoke that as truth, that everyone has free will, everything has free will, that is the point after which you cannot think or posit rationally that the creator gives a shit about you in any way whatsoever in the material world.
and we've been
He
through.
can't. He is
We
forbidden by the laws of free will.
Yes, and we've been through like 6,000 gods or something in this history of humanity.
Oh
Well,
Every
yeah,
yeah,
the ideas, the different
stupid
ideas
humans are
about
very
God.
creative. What's your point?
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
but I think I think what he's saying is he doesn't want to buy into any one dogma about what God is, even though he does recognize there's an intelligent creating force within all of us that's connected. Is that what it is? So,
Hey Dave, if you want to keep talking in here, you need to get to a place where you're out of the wind.
oh,
It's
sorry. Okay, never mind.
really an
Sorry about that.
impediment.
Hey, Soul.
yeah,
So I just kind of want to ask you, have you ever thought about the possibility, right? Just like I said earlier, that whatever God is, I'm not going to get into dogma, right?
yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
God is, have you ever just once thought of the possibility that God exists in a completely different plane of existence, right? That, like, what happens here in this dimension, in this plane, because I do believe Earth is a plane, and I know you don't, right?
Mm.
Is minuscule compared to all of existence.
Yes, uh, as we would say, uh, as we humans would say, the bisons in North
Well, it kind of
America,
goes back to what some other person was saying, right? We don't all have the privilege to have a direct access with God, right? I don't know who does, right? But assuming they exist, you know,
yeah,
you don't know why they have that direct access with God. Like we can get into deep conversation like reincarnation, who knows? But at the very least, you have to acknowledge that if God is real, not everybody is going to have access to God directly.
But but the fucked up thing is, if there is a God, if there is a one true God, how come there's 1,200 religions?
That's free
As
will.
it
But
That's what
speaks?
stupid humans are doing. You know what I mean? That's got nothing to do with the other.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Mm,
just to the other point, I don't think that you can necessarily say that that there's people that don't have a connection to God. Maybe everything is God, right? I don't necessarily think that that's going to help soul get there, because I think that access is whether we know there's access or not, or whether that kind of gets almost into the dogmatic idea that there's a special connection that I have with God that you don't have, and maybe I have access and you aren't allowed, and we don't know why you're not allowed. That
yeah,
whether
you
that's
were
true or
born
not.
Muslim, and you therefore you will not go to heaven.
Yeah,
You
see
were
that
born,
that's the dogma. That's the dogma
yeah,
that I think it overshadows the idea that a lot of people might get to that place of knowing that we have an intelligent connection that we could call God, whatever you want to call it. You know, that at the very least where you're at, right? So I think that people try to avoid the dogma, or they've been, Bible beaten over the head their whole lives, and so they think that that's synonymous. This biblical God is synonymous with the idea that there is a God, and I don't think that's necessarily the case. And a lot of people that believe in God don't believe in a biblical God. Is that important? Well, to a lot of people it is. They say it is, but then without the dogma, we're already there with you. So
Hmm.
mm, my yeah, we're getting closer, or I'm understanding you more, so to speak.
I'm not a typical biblical God guy, and maybe there are people that believe that that's the case, and maybe they're right. I can't know that they're right, but a lot of people believe they are, and I just try to avoid dogma at all costs.
Yeah, Brock's been raising his hand for a while, but I have this question. What's the end game for you? You
We
know,
cannot know.
no, but is it religion? Is it?
No,
Oh,
for
he's
me,
talking about the
no.
flat Earth movement. So, like I said in the beginning, right? Like
Yeah,
the flat Earth chads. Like, where do we go now? But a lot of people are waking up, bro. Millions of people are waking up.
yeah,
Where
More
but
we
Yeah,
people
where
that
we
wake up
go,
to the
I
truth,
can I can
the
help
more
you with
people that
where
wake
we
up to the
go.
truth and get every lie out of their head, the better off we're gonna be.
Yeah.
yeah, but is
Precisely.
is it the plain truth or the soul truth, or is it, you know, and the way world economics work, or the power of the Jews, or is it uh, the fact that there is a God, because Earth is Earth is the center of the universe, and therefore we're put here, and therefore there's a
Okay.
meaning for me. You
Okay.
know,
Well, the key.
knowing exactly what it is isn't as to start off with isn't as crucial as knowing what it isn't, right? So you're
Yeah.
at least know it's what it isn't.
yeah, but that's not what's the end game. What's the final
Well,
word?
what
Truth.
do you mean? What's
Truth
the
is
end
the
game?
end
Well,
game.
let me ask you. What do you think the end game needs to be?
You're talking about the flat Earth movement, right?
Yeah,
Any end game for any movement whatsoever. What's the end game?
uh,
What
hard truth, I
The
would say.
uh,
truth.
Hard
Okay.
truth, yeah.
So the truth is really all that really matters, right? Like as we learn something else. And then we find out that there's another question. And so we go and search for that truth. And once we find the answer to that, then we go and search for that truth. What would be the ultimate end game is knowing everything, right? That would be the ultimate end game. To
Yeah.
know the truth about every single thing and to not be pulled into a lie and tricked anymore. That's the ultimate end game, is it not?
and what you don't
Yeah.
think is attainable, right, JH? You're not saying that's attainable, because then if you knew everything about the destination, then there would be no purpose in the journey, right?
The end
I
I
wouldn't
don't
game.
think.
necessarily say that because if I would say that if I knew the truth about everything, and I was and I knew where I was going to go after I left this meat suit, I would live this life happy, and I would go out there and I'd till the fields and do whatever I have to do, live off the land, shake my neighbor's hand, and share nothing but love and joy to everybody everywhere that I go. So there would be absolute purpose in
Mm-hmm.
living in this meat suit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, at the same time, I don't think that you're trying to say that you could ever know that for sure. That's why there is something called faith, right? The faith is
Well, no,
important
because
for
if I
you,
knew the
right?
truth and then I shared the truth with you and then you came to know the truth and then we were on the same page, well, guess what? Now we could both go out and farm the land together and live happily ever after as neighbors and cook food for each other and have our families come over and spend time with each other and go outside and play. And we teach our families what the truth is so they grow up
Sure.
knowing the truth and they get to live off the land and do all the right things that they need to do for their family and so on and so forth for generations to come. It's when you give
Yeah.
up your freedoms for government control, that's where the problem comes in. Oh, just give it up a little bit. Now they have a little wiggle room. They can go in there and they can do whatever they want because you've given them that control. And if they lie to you, that's on you because you didn't take your control back. You gave up control so you wouldn't have to be accountable for anything that you do in your life.
Hey, Soul,
Yeah.
quick question. How many narratives can you create with the ball?
With the
With the ball?
ball, as in,
Yeah, like the Earth. Like they say
The-
the Earth is a ball, right? Sphere.
yeah.
So how many narratives can you create with the ball?
What, gravity? We
No. So
put it
I'm
on the
talking about,
sun.
like, for example, here's my point. So, earlier you asked why would they lie? Was that your question or was that somebody else?
No, yeah, it was me, but I was more asking
No,
for.
that was his question.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So
okay, yeah,
think about all the narratives that you can create with the heliocentric cosmology, right? You can say, for example, global warming, you could say whatever. Anything can be created if people
Aliens,
assume that we live on a spinning ball, right? You can get them to
yeah,
comet
believe
coming to hit the Earth.
that there's a comet coming to hit the Earth and that we need to do X, Y, and Z, and that people need to be in lockstep with whatever narrative that those from high places generate. Would you agree with that, Soul?
yeah.
There you go. So
But
when you ask
my
why
my
would they
my
lie, right? It's to create narratives that would only be possible if you believe that you're a speck of dust. But once you actually know, hey, I'm the center of creation, right? I'm the image of God itself. You understand what I'm saying? Then you
Yeah,
would know that you have innate power, and it would be almost impossible, not that it would be completely impossible, but it would be almost impossible to fully control you. You get where I'm going?
yeah.
And let me can I ask a quick question? I just need to know, man. What do you expect any end game for any idea to be? Pick like what's the end game of the Earth being a ball?
No, I would say, you know, finding out the truth. Uh,
What's the end
science
game of the
is
Earth being in the heliocentric model?
no, that's just science moving forward. Uh, turns out Earth is a ball.
Like, why is it
Turns
important to know how far away the sun is? Let me ask you that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I know where this is going.
Yeah, no, to understand our world.
What does it do for you to know that the sun is 93 million miles away?
It doesn't do anything to
I'm back.
me,
What I
but it
miss?
doesn't
We're we're,
it
we're
And
trying to figure out what an end game is and why we need to have an end game.
No. So
you
what
know
he
what?
did was he asked a question. He's like, what's the end game of the flat earth movement?
Hey, you know what? I think that we should give our friend a little bit more credit than maybe I'm not sure, but Soul has gotten there already to a certain extent. He's already saying before the ball, if this group right here were back at before they created this ball idea, everything might be great.
Can
So
y'all
it
hear me
sounds like
still?
we've come a long ways with him. No,
Yeah,
maybe
sure,
not.
we hear you.
Brock's been waving for ages.
How you guys doing?
I
Can
think
you hear
we,
me?
I think we beat the horse. What's up, Brock?
Hey, I just had a few points on that topic.
You gotta shoehorn yourself into the chat.
I'm patient. You guys are kind of already covering a bunch of the topics when it comes to free will and such, but I guess this is kind of less
Well,
flat Earth, but more kind of a biblical viewpoint. And I'll try to start from the beginning and make it short.
real,
But
real quick, Brock. Real
Turn
quick.
into that.
I want to finish what I was saying.
yeah,
Okay.
go ahead. Go ahead.
So, do you see how absurd that question is to ask? What's the end game? Like, you don't even know why it's important to know that the sun is how far away the sun is.
No, but why is it important that the Earth is flat? You know,
I just
It's not
answered it.
important
I
that the
just
Earth is
answered it for
flat.
you, Soul. I just
It's
answered.
important. It's
No, but-
important. Hold on. It's important to know that if you're being lied to or not. That's what's important.
yeah, to finding out more and to, in
So
my world,
so let me ask you this, Soul. Let me ask you
yeah,
this. If the surface of the Earth is not curving, then the surface of the Earth must be what?
flat.
Right. So just by that philosophy alone, if you find out that you're being lied to about the surface of the Earth, you already get one leg up, man.
That's the point.
You've already discovered the truth.
That's the point of the shape of the Earth. There, Saul, is that we're being lied to. They're telling us that we're an insignificant piece of dust on a.
You're being gaslit.
Yeah, and we're on a blue marble that's in a galaxy tucked in the corner of the universe that everybody forgot about. All right,
In a galaxy far, far away.
Do you know where they
Long time
say?
ago.
Do you know where they say that the our solar system is? Our solar system is like in the elbow of Orion. How the fuck do they know that?
Elbow of Orion.
Yeah, it's either the elbow or the armpit. I can't remember which one.
No, yeah, but we're in the outskirts of our Milky Way. Yeah.
How do you know that?
Watch the night sky, see where the highest density of the stars are.
Nobody has ever gone outside of the Milky Way to observe where we are in the Milky Way. So how do you know where we are in the Milky Way?
And plus, the night sky is always the same, man. You're always looking at the same night sky.
Changes yearly. It has a yearly.
Yeah, you can go out there right now and take a picture of the night sky, and 1 year later you get the same. Right,
Yeah, 1 year later. Yeah,
yeah,
but
Good.
during the year
Same
it
sky
changes.
because it's the same sky.
Yeah, but it changes during the year.
You
You don't see
that.
Orion's.
We're supposed to be, spinning on our axis and orbiting around the sun and chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour while the whole solar system goes around the Milky Way, while the Milky Way, scoots away from the Big Bang, while the whole universe expands at 4 times the speed of light. But we always see the star.
It sounds kind of ridiculous when you say.
Yeah, I mean, when you actually say it all out loud like that and tell everybody, yeah, it does sound ridiculous. Which, why I say it like that, because it is ridiculous.
But so well reverse engineered. We have to say, I have to add, that's the thing, is that they got us with the reverse engineering of the cyclical nature of everything, right? Like, so they see the cycle and then they say they predicted it because it's cyclical and the stars are going to come around and then we're going to, that's true. But the interpretation is where they get us. And so you're already laughing at it, which is awesome because you realize how ridiculous it sounds, and then you'll start laughing more and more at yourself for ever believing it to begin with eventually.
Maybe don't see it yet.
I will say,
But
Soul, surprisingly, there are some atheists that accept the fact that the Earth is flat.
yeah,
So if they can do it, so can you, man.
We all walk the path.
Because that guy's right,
Right.
man. When you actually lay it down like that, it sounds ridiculous, which is why many atheists who supposedly they follow the logic or the philosophy of logic and empiricism, They know that nobody has ever gone to Orion's belt. Nobody has ever gone out there in the Milky Way galaxy to know where our solar system is located. But when you regurgitate these talking points about, X, Y, and Z, it sounds dumb. And even they like, you know what? Maybe this is not true because I might as well believe in farting unicorns, right? Like, I can't see that.
Well, I would say Soul is not even an atheist. Like from what he just said, he at the very least, there's an intelligent connection to everything that we can call God. Wouldn't you say that at least realizing that makes you not an atheist?
Maybe. I'm not intimidated or I'm
You're
not.
saying you're an atheist because you don't believe in a biblical God, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, that's I think the conflation that a lot of people fall into, and they call themselves atheists, even though they already know there's some kind of an intelligent connection to everything, and we're an intelligent creation, or that whether it had a beginning or an end, may not be important for your understanding that there is an intelligence at the very
I
heart of
had this.
everything, right?
I had this existential kind of epiphany
Mm.
last 2 weekends ago, not last Friday,
Let's
but
hear it.
Friday. Yeah. I went to this uh, Arab store, you know, uh, kind of supermarket, whatever. Uh, they had cut some meats and stuff, and they had, they don't eat pork,
Are you
so
cool with
there's
that though? Are you cool with that? They're cutting animals, bro. Are you cool with that?
yeah. I eat animals. Yeah, but they didn't have any pork, but they had lamb, and they had these goat testicles, goat heads, in this plastic tray with a plastic wrapping around it. And then they had chicken hearts, and chicken hearts. Yeah, we used to eat that in Sweden back in the days. Uh, it cost nothing. So I took this small tray, cost in dollars, what, $2 for like a pound of chicken hearts, and I heard that, that's good. So I marinated it, mm, put it on the grill, and it was, I don't know, like 40 or 50 ish, and there were four of us eating, and I assumed that everyone would eat two or three of them, and we almost finished the plate. But every time I picked up a heart, I thought, this is alive, or was alive, and then I ate it.
Mhm.
Okay, that's a
Did
good
you say a
objective
loss of life?
observation. No,
Not
he
a
said he had
loss
a
of
life
life.
in his hand. That's all.
I don't know. It just the fact that each bite was alive.
I feel like we're gonna bring you to God today, Soul. I think that's what we're doing here today. Yeah, we're gonna save you, brother.
It's 4:45 where I am. Uh,
Hey, Soul. It's interesting that your name
yeah.
is Soul because you weren't eating the souls of the chickens. You were just eating the hearts, right?
Oh no, you see,
Yes.
it's not soul. It's actually SOL. So like he's a heliocentric. So like soul, like the center of the sun, soul. You
The-
know.
Wow. That's quite interesting.
Okay, so it's
A
nearly
friend,
5 a.m. Can I leave you with a
a
parting thought?
friend of mine, a friend of mine,
Hey, wait
last
a minute,
summer.
Soul, real quick. We got Stone here's about to go, and he wants to a parting thought for you.
Actually, it's because
Yeah,
he's
okay.
about to go because it's 5 a.m. his time. And I wanted to back up to another question he was asking about Endgame. And it relates to
Yeah.
the original question about why they would lie. And it is to control paradigm. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we talk about what's the end
For
game,
for for the movement, not for
right?
you.
I'm getting to you now. So
Yeah.
the end game is to change paradigm and the parts of it that we're just not happy with. And I wanted to give you two examples. I consider me part of the movement. Consider me one of those fleurs. Consider me whatever you want to. That doesn't matter. But when it comes to an end game, let's talk about two things: politics and money. Okay. First, one thing that most stupid humans really have to even begin to come to grips with is that the paradigm known as political representation is a gross abandonment of personal responsibility and personal sovereignty. That you are, by voting, you are consenting to be ruled and controlled. And this is in itself, you're actually paying those people to control you. This is a paradigm, I think, which needs to be just eliminated from human existence. This thing about political representation is rife with opportunity for corruption and anti human interest in the interest of personal self and personal gain. Now, this is how we tie it to the second part of the paradigm that I want to address. We want to get rid of politics, but you see, we also want to get rid of money. And this is the thing that, again, we were brought up with it. We've only known life one way. We only consider one way to do it. We always throw the virgin into the volcano to get the crops to grow. And it's always the way that it's been done. However, what we have been fed is a lie about scarcity, and it exploits a part of the human brain known as the reptilian subcomplex. It's just above the brainstem in the back of the brain when you check out the anatomy, and it controls the things that you consider when you think about property, what is yours, you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that I better get some before it's gone. Okay, I could take it away from that guy and I can declare it mine and put a deed on it and tell everybody that nobody else can have it but me. This kind of thing, the monetary system, okay, is something being used to exploit you, the being. Now, forget all the paper person arguments and stuff. When we talk about political representation and that we're paying people to do it, if there was no such thing as money, if we abandon the monetary sequence of value and we adopt instead a resource based economy, something that is a life sequence of value, that there is no longer any such thing as barter, trade, or anything of the sort. Because what we're going to do in terms of paradigm is we're going to embrace the law, the reality of universal abundance here on Earth. Doesn't matter what Earth looks like. The point is that there is more than enough of absolutely everything to go around. And once we finally mature as a species and we bring all the stupid humans forward enough, right up to the line of awareness, to realize that it's okay to just get rid of the monetary sequence of value. This is mine. This is yours. If you want something, you're going to have to pay me or give me something of equal value to get that to you. Screw all of that. Okay. And when we do, you're going to ask me, of course, the first base question when you try to superimpose current paradigm on top of this new proposed paradigm and the change in it and see all the dysfunctionality and the havoc that would be caused. That is all mythical and is all nonsensical. The point is that we have so many humans on Earth who derive a sense of personal worth through the act of voluntary contribution, that when we discard all of the vocations, all the jobs that exist solely because the construct of money exists. I mean, everything from salesmen to actuaries to cops to the people who protect the money. You know what I mean? Everything in between, to lawyers who litigate because they want to get money off somebody else because of wrong. Everybody in between, the cashiers, the insurance agents, the medical insurers, everybody who has a job because money exists, including all of the military. If all of a sudden, all of those people on Earth had nothing to do, but were still insanely possessed with this need to contribute, because at that point in society, once we get there, everything you need in life will be there in abundance. All your housing, your food, your education, you know what I mean? Your vehicle, your toys, your home away from home, everything in between. It's going to be there, and you just go down to a library and pick something up that you need, or have it delivered, or a new house that's built by a bunch of robots doing 3D printing, because we have the technology to do that if only the humans would put focus into it. Once we get rid of this paradigm known as money, think of what would change about human existence. Okay, so we've only changed two things here. We have rid ourselves of political representation as a paradigm, and we have abandoned the monetary system in favor of the life sequence of value. Think what the end game would look like for someone like me.
We have talked quite a lot about the monetary system in Sweden, or here in Sweden,
Good thing.
and it's we all know it's a castle in the we call it air castle.
Yeah, like fiat
You know,
currency. It's something that never exists. We just agree to give something intangible tangible value.
yeah, and we press a button to print more
Yep. We
whenever
make some more
needed.
zeros. You got it.
Yeah.
Can I just bring up a point real quick? It seems I could explain it if you were to say, like, from a biblical or Christian point of view, we could call this all sin, and I think it does go back. When did, like, I would ask Soul that, if do you believe, if everybody, there was a God and he gave us free will, if everybody abided in his will and didn't sin, do you think that the world would be perfect and there wouldn't be cancer? Because, like, I have to go back and think, why did people in the early days of the Bible live 500 years? Is it because of us integrating more and more sin, and whether it being willful or unwillful sin, creating this degradation of what God first created? Like, because it goes all the way back to the apple, right? Who told Eve to eat the apple? So I think a lot of people would say that, like, even in biblical cosmology, that the biggest lie that is to be perpetrated is the devil or Satan trying to deceive you that there isn't a God. And then the second would be greed, all these things that man falls prey to, the sin. Um,
No, but if God made us as his, what's the English term? Not lookalikes, but God made us
In
to
his
his.
image. In his image, yeah.
Exactly. How can we be this faulty?
Yeah,
How can we?
that's where the
That's
dogma might come in, is what he's saying, I think.
all of that is just what stupid humans do. I don't think any of it is truly relevant.
Yet here
I,
we
I would
are,
say that it falls in
fucked
the
up.
same
We're fucked up.
category. Greed, them wanting money to control the narrative. It all falls into things that they would consider sin.
You can't.
Like I said, it's comparable if you want to look at it in that point of view. But I want to point on earlier, you guys were mentioning just like how people can be so hard headed about the globe theory. And, like, I have my uncle, and he was born, he's like about 70 years old, and he is so hard headed about the issues. Like, I've talked to him about flat Earth, but he's like, literally last night we are looking at the moon, whatever was happening there, and he's just like, even if you showed me proof, I wouldn't believe it. Like he's just so dead set.
That's just ego.
Like
I mean,
he's
if you
been
want to see
so.
proof, just look at the horizon, bro.
No, that's that problem there, Brock, is just ego. People attach their ideas to themselves, their identity, their, you know what I mean, their reason and their own personal value. That if you
He loves
insult,
space. He saw it on TV.
right,
He
if you
has
question
grown up
what
with
they
X Files.
think,
He's seen aliens and UFOs. I can't tell him otherwise, and I'm
Wait,
like,
okay,
can I just say something, bro, about this
hold
whole
on,
alien
man.
topic?
If you question what they think, it seems to them like you're actually threatening them, because you're questioning the things that, to which they have attached their own ego, and this is the problem. It's just undeveloped thought. Don't worry about it, man.
he's slowly coming around. But he just loves, he loves seeing the rockets and anything going up. He just believes everything he sees, and I'm like, have you grew up in an era like where everybody was a conspiracy theorist, and now it's all coming true, but yet you don't pay any attention to this, and you still think we landed on the moon. I don't know.
Well, some people choose not to walk the path. There's nothing you can do about that.
Dude,
That's
that's
free will.
what messed me up because
Yeah, God made me.
I thought that aliens were building up pyramids and all these crazy structures that they say we can't do today, but somehow dumber people than us were able to do it. So it had to be aliens, and once you realize that space is fake, man, that when you guys should check out Operation Fishbowl, man. They're nuking the firmament. Space is fake, man. It's impenetrable.
Like weren't all these books considered science fiction? Growing up, I remember it's like anything that had to do with space or
Oh,
UFOs or
I
anything.
used to
Ancient.
love sci-fi. Oh my god, yeah.
I mean, I was the alien guy. Everything was aliens, man. I was totally everything's aliens. If it's got some crazy origin story of why it's here, aliens did it, man.
He's hardcore deep, man. He's old and he does not want to. He doesn't want it to be something different. And I
Dude,
don't blame him.
giving
I
up
don't blame him.
space,
But
man. I had to give up space first, man. And that was a tough one. Once I realized space is fake, man, I almost passed out, man. It hit me hard, man. I ain't even kidding. I blacked out almost.
Damn,
Uh,
So, hey,
damn.
Soul,
do,
thanks for coming by,
do
man. I'm glad that you are taking in, at least appearing to be slightly objective about the thoughts we're giving you to chew on. And I hope you do spend
I'm
some
right.
time on them. That's, thanks for coming by, man. That's great.
Thanks,
and
dude.
also last
All
point,
right.
nothing can be. What's the saying? Everything cannot be created from nothing, or nothing can be created from everything. Like trying to debate.
Don't
Yeah,
go
yeah.
there again.
Just
Something
saying
cannot
out
be
there,
created
but
from nothing.
No, but my point was, I I hope, because I'm in a lot of Swedish spaces and we all think alike. And now I come here to this American space and none of you think as I do. So I think that maybe I give you some value. You taught me shit that I didn't think I hadn't thought about.
Are you
once again, we all have been in your shoes.
are you
I
are you
got a
It's like,
name for
a lot of
you.
people
yeah.
in are you saying a lot of people in Sweden are atheists?
Oh, for sure.
Oh my.
Yeah,
Has lots of them. Hey, Soul, I got a name for you to write down
yeah.
and check out for more information, exactly along the lines of what I was just talking about at length. And his name was Jacques Fresco, Jacque, Fresco,
Give me a
Fresco.
second.
Yeah, Jacques Fresco,
Yeah,
Fresco,
Chris.
Fresco. And the three letters are TVP. That stands for the Venus Project, rather. That is where you will learn a great deal about the resource based economy option instead of the monetary system. Jacques lived 101 years, and I volunteered for the Venus Project for 5 years during mostly when he was alive. It was really cool. That's actually a place down in Venus, Florida, if you want to understand the connection there. But yeah, look up the Venus Project and their older work, and particularly what Jacques did for 40 years before anything happened in Venus, Florida. And yeah, you'll learn a great deal about paradigm. Have fun, man.
I'll look at it tomorrow.
Yeah, I got a feeling you're not going to get a lot of sleep tonight. I planted a lot of seeds.
No, it's Saturday tomorrow. I can. The best thing getting drunk Friday is when you wake up Saturday. It feels like Sunday. Because you often go out Saturdays, and you wake up Saturday. You know, head's a bit heavy, and you realize, what the fuck? Half the weekend's left. And
Hey,
life's good.
Soul, are you on Discord at all? You know what Discord is? Do you do that too?
And no, I do not do Discord.
Have you thought about it? That's another great place to get a bunch of
Mm.
links for information or whatever.
He's got a lot on his plate. Let's see how far he gets by next Friday night. You know what I mean? I like
Yeah,
bring him back. See what he found.
yeah.
Somebody here mentioned the department from Brazil that proved that the Earth was flat, and they were trying to measure the sun. I just want to say real quick before Soul goes, brother, I know you're in Sweden, so that's Europe. I know that in our modern times, a lot of Europeans are atheists, right? Would you agree that a lot of them are atheists?
Yes.
So
I'd say Western Europeans, the Easterns, Polacks, and they're still
Hungarians,
Orthodox or
there are
whatever.
plenty of non-atheists, but there's actually a
yeah,
really
no, of
high
Yeah,
course.
percentage of
but
them in
but
Sweden.
but yes,
Yeah, I just
sure.
want to say, it's funny because like in Latin America, it's pretty much the opposite, bro. You could talk about flat Earth and everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people would agree with you there, bro. Like everybody is like, yeah, you know what? I'm not really down with this heliocentric model. I'm not really down with, the moon landing stuff. And somebody brought up a department from Brazil that proved the Earth was flat. I don't know who brought that up, but it kind of resonates with the fact that a lot of people in that particular part of the world, and I assume other parts that we probably just don't know about, are really, really skeptical about scientism, and especially this heliocentric ball Earth model. So I just kind of want to point that out. Like it's the exact opposite in other parts of the world.
Yeah. Uh, wow. Um, I haven't thought about it, but now that you mention it, yeah,
Yeah, there's a
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
Filipino team
Makes
too.
sense.
There's a lot of them, a lot of factions.
Yeah, and then there's the Coriolis effect.
What?
That's just a joke. Never mind,
Yeah.
Soul. Go forth and multiply with your thoughts.
Okay. Again,
Peace, brother. Peace.
English is my third language. I'm sorry. Everything
No,
doesn't
you're
make.
doing quite well, frankly. No, you don't have to
I
worry.
try. I try.
Man, you
But
talk better than a lot of guys I know around here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, Soul, of those people that you were saying are atheists in Sweden or wherever you're thinking about these, would you think that a lot of those people would agree with you that there's an intelligent connection to everything at the very least? Would you say a lot of those people feel that way at least? Even though they call themselves atheists?
um, short answer, no. But
Mm.
Really?
What are these trees called? That the giraffes eat. Thick-leaved trees. Uh, giraffes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they eat these trees and reach. They eat the high growing leaves.
Right.
And the weirdest thing is that those trees communicate with each other. So if a giraffe starts to eat on one tree, it kind of bursts out this scent so that the next tree knows that giraffes are around, and that tree tries to avoid giraffes to eat from it.
How so?
I don't know.
Okay, like, but that's interesting. I'm sure you're right about that. Just I have to look into that. That's an interesting idea. I've never heard that one. But
it's not.
similarly, that there's a mycelium network for all the mushrooms and fungi throughout like the whole
Yeah.
earth. Yeah,
Oh,
similar.
yeah. That's insane in itself. But this is airborne. It's not rooted.
Right.
So
Exactly.
so this is airborne. So they send an airborne signal to the next tree, so that they let out less scent or whatever.
There could even
So
be a metaphysical connection that doesn't even necessarily mean that it's sending a signal through the air from point A to point B. It could be that they're connected on a metaphysical level that doesn't even take a signal being sent. It would just automatically know that the neighbor tree is being munched upon, and they would sense it intuitively in some kind of
that
way that we
would
can't
be
explain. Yeah.
that would be insane, and that's beyond my way of thinking.
Well, but what I was saying about the microzyma would actually answer that if that were true, that everything has an intelligent connection at the very heart of every cell that creates the whole creation, and everything's connected and on a metaphysical level.
I'm
That
happy
that
with
could be
I'm
the case,
happy
right?
Yeah, and I'm happy with that way of thinking. Let's say you saw the movie Avatar, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the girl, she kind of said a prayer before she arrowed those animals, because she had respect for life in general, and that's kind of how I want it to be.
Yeah, I would say it's
Then
unfortunate. Don't you think it's unfortunate that for what you just said, like that right there is a belief in God. If you think that there is an intelligent connection through things, and that's the way things have a way of working at the very least, right? So that's a
yeah.
belief in God, in my opinion. I don't think you have to have a biblical God to say that you're an atheist or not an atheist.
The hardest thing, or the kind of sharpest edge, if I say I don't believe in God, then anyone could say, "Oh, yeah, so you can kill anyone and do whatever you want. You can rape whoever you want. You'll have no consequences." But I think, yeah, I agree. Yes, I will not have any consequences. But what kind of society would it be if anyone could kill anyone or rape anyone anywhere? Um, Therefore, we need to have rules, more moral rules. So you cannot kill anyone. You cannot rape anyone whenever you feel like, regardless of how horny you are. So that our tribe, city, village, whatever, can survive. And yeah, uh, I haven't gone full religious on it. I think it's more
Would you,
uh
hey Soul, would you say that like places that do have more of a religious background tend to have more morals? Like, that it's not less of just that instinctual, like, knowing right from wrong, I guess you could say.
yeah, I did go to Sunday school when I was a kid. uh
I had a thought.
and it
I
was
had a thought though earlier when you were talking about creation. I agree with Stone that the premise on something the creator something being created proves there's a creator. Asking the question, then going beyond asking the question of like, what does creation mean? Is it meant when humanity, us, were made? Was it when the Big Bang supposedly happened, or Or are you trying
Yeah,
to
but
presuppose when God supposedly was made? But what I've heard, like through what I think I've know about the Bible, it says that he always has been, always was, which would kind of inference that it's like an infinite existence of heaven or something
and
like that, and he is
which
everything and can
and
create
which
anything.
yeah,
So
and
it's
which
like,
makes
yeah, it's an
which
interesting
which
thing to
wait,
dive
wait
into.
which makes more sense to you, an infinite creator, or that there's a
Nothing created
finite?
everything. I think an infinite creator is actually more plausible than nothing creating it's impossible for nothing to create something.
And
So can I ask you a
yeah,
question? So,
yeah.
how many thoughts can you have?
How many?
How many thoughts can you have?
Mm, a bunch, quite a
So,
few.
is there a limit to how many thoughts can come to you?
Yes.
There's a limit. So, will there be one day you won't have any thoughts at all?
No, but infinity is
There you
infinity.
go. So thoughts are infinite, right? So you can think of something. You could
No,
always think of something. You could always create something in your mind visually, right?
n- no, not infinite. Cause
Oh, so there's a limit to how many thoughts you can have.
yeah, cause I have a finite lifetime.
No, no, no. But I'm talking about while you're alive, right? As far as we
Yeah.
know, would you agree that there isn't a limit to how many thoughts you can have, right?
No, I have a finite lifetime. Therefore, I cannot have infinite thoughts.
No, but you're talking about bodily death. I'm not even going there. I'm just talking about while you're alive, right? You
Yes.
would agree that there is no limit to how many thoughts you can create with your
During
mind, right?
100 years of my life, I cannot have an infinite amount of the thoughts because
But
I have
just
a.
take infinite in quotes. It's just like there's unlimited as far as you are alive. You don't know, you couldn't count that you only have a certain amount of thoughts for that lifetime, and there's like a certain amount that we all have to follow. It's just endless until you die, right?
Yes.
That's all he's saying.
Uh,
And there you go.
I
So
and I
if you,
kind of understand it, but I have to fight it because he's arguing wrong. But yes, okay. During my lifetime, I can think.
yeah, I said that. So my point is you're saying that you can't believe in God, right? Because infinite creation, but you can infinitely create thoughts. There's no limit to your thoughts while you're alive. So why
Yeah.
not apply that same rule to God?
And if he is that way, he's already thought of everything. So you have to think about that. Like things are pre-planned if you go by the Bible, that things are to come, and he writes it out, is like spelled out. But he doesn't have, like you say, he doesn't control everybody like a robot. You have free will. So
I would
you know,
say the Bible gave us free will. The Quran says things are written. So according to
I
our
wasn't even going there, buddy. I'm just saying, you saying there can't be an infinite creator, right? But yet you can infinitely create thoughts, right? Like there's no limit
no,
to your
okay,
thoughts.
okay, but okay, let's put it this way. According to the
I think I
way,
know. I get what you're saying. You're saying that there's the laws, that say that there's sin, and then there's free will, and this, you're trying to it's hard to separate from like what God allows and what is expected from Him, and what gives people good grace or blessings or whatever. Like if you live in His will, I think that's kind of the separation there.
yeah, no, but but to me, okay, if you all go back to middle school and the world is a ball in and so forth, what makes more sense, that the universe is infinite or finite? And to me, a finite universe makes more sense than an infinite universe. a Big Bang makes more sense than a universe that has always been there. You know, how can it have?
If it's finite, how if it's like if we were banging, we're still moving from that bang. Like, isn't there? You know, I'm not a big space guy. You know, the law of entrap or whatever it is. You know, when something's moving, there's resistance. It has to eventually come to a stop. Whatever energy's created has to. I can't remember the exact terms, but and I don't know about
Why don't
space.
you apply that to the Earth, Soul?
Well, let's say Brock saying, yeah, okay. Come again. Say what about the Earth?
Like the Big
Yeah,
Bang
so like the
energy
law of
would
entropy,
apply.
for example, the Earth is moving.
Yeah,
So when will the Earth end?
the Earth will end in about
Not
4
end, but when
billion
will it stop
years.
moving from the energy that was produced from the Big Bang?
Yeah,
No, but
exactly.
it's traveling. It's caught in the sun's orbit.
Yeah, I mean, everything in the galaxy is moving, never at the same position that it was before. So, like, for example, if we're talking about entropy, that energy that's causing all those objects to move, when will it fizzle out?
I think I don't know if you know, but our whole solar system is supposed to be moving together through space.
Hmm.
That's what's
Yeah,
claimed, I believe. So
yeah,
if you take it as a whole, even though we're in a gravity orbit or whatever, or a magnetic orbit of the solar system, it's supposedly at the same time moving through space because of the Big Bang.
yeah.
And
Yeah, and that kind of
energy,
gets to
right?
the topic before, right? Like you said, so what's the end game of the flat Earth movement, right? Well, I mean, what's the end game of learning about, for example, this idea that the sun is traveling 66,600 miles per hour around the sun, and the sun is
Mm,
traveling half a million miles per hour through the Milky Way galaxy? What's the purpose of knowing that?
fair point. Yeah, but knowing the truth, learning of physics, uh,
Just
and
real quick,
eventually,
Soul, did you say that you said that you thought a finite universe makes more sense rather than an
yeah,
infinite?
yes,
But doesn't the heliocentric model claim there's an infinite universe? Like
no,
space is infinite? No?
no,
Oh, what do they claim is on the outside of the universe then? What's on the outside?
there is no outside.
Well,
And
It's
what's
then
the
out of
purpose of
our.
knowing that? What's the
wait, hold
purpose of
on, wait.
teaching that?
Well, wait a minute. If there's nothing on the outside, then how is it finite?
Uh, Now where you are when it comes to the moon and the sun, we
Wait,
don't.
hold on, real quick. Is it? I can't remember, but do they say that it is ever expanding universe, or is it fine? Because if it was finite, you should be able to measure it, and they should be able to tell us what they think the barrier is. I guess.
Well, they do talk about
Mm,
the edges of the universe at the same time. It's all weird, but I'm saying that for you philosophically, you're saying a finite universe makes sense, but you don't think there's anything on the outside. So if if everything is the universe and there's nothing on the outside, then that's a form of infinite in itself, right? Because that's all there is.
yeah, but yet measurable. You know, if it's 13 billion light years that way and that way and that way and that way, and you can't, we can't get past it.
Okay, so that does that mean there's nothing on the other side?
No, it's out of
All right.
our reach.
Hold on, new
Well,
perspective. Are you? I'm getting confused. If it's ever expanding, then you could say it is infinite because it's continuing to expand.
all right.
If it's
That's what they
finite,
say.
We
then you.
that's what the math says
But you
today.
disagree with that.
No,
So
but
then it's infinite.
what I'm no 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 no.
Ever
What I'm
expanding kind of
saying,
means that infinite, right? Or no?
if it expands into nothing, if it expands to nothing that doesn't exist, but the
Uh,
fact that
There's a
we
famous quote where someone's trying to explain nothing,
yeah,
and it's kind of, you know, not useful to explain nothing. Try to explain nothing, but go ahead.
it's
I'm sorry.
impossible.
It is impossible. The very least, it's empty space.
Well, yeah, but what's empty? What does that mean? A non-reality?
Space
No,
is something.
empty.
It's the absence. It's the absence of, you know.
No, total empty is an empty space, a vacuum.
No.
There's no particles in it.
Okay, but then how does that I mean, that you realize that's a paradox. Like that can't be.
That's probably
Nothing can't. You can't have nothing.
no part of it. Yeah, it's problematic.
No, it could be empty space.
No, can't really.
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't realize this either, but technically there's no such thing as a vacuum. That's why they say Earth's atmosphere extends all the way to the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to live in a pressurized system.
But the core essential of this is to me, and I'm sure all of you disagree. I'm okay with the universe and being finite. I'm more happy. I'm more okay with that. The universe being finite than infinite, because infinite, how there's no end. I can't. I have no perception of infinity.
It had to
Okay, I
start
got
though
it.
from the very beginning. So, like you're saying,
Yeah.
what is now expanding was what the Big Bang was. So everything created after that,
Yeah,
you know.
obviously, both of them are out of our perception. We can't grasp either infinite universe or finite universe, because if it's infinite, we can't grasp that. If it's finite, what's beyond,
Bro, people
or
are paying so much money for things that nobody will be able to explain this ever. Ever.
yeah.
And people are still paying college tuitions for this stuff.
No, but yes, but we're learning as we go, and
But wait, hold
you
on,
know,
wait. When you say we're learning, right? What do you
yeah,
mean by we?
we as humans,
Right,
we
but the problem, see, I think if you ask like what would be the end goal of whatever. Well,
mhm.
I'm not saying it's an end goal, but one of the things that the realization that we're being lied to on about the spinning ball, we're not the infinite space, all that whole paradigm, you can find out if you want, you can find out that that's actually not only not true, but impossible. Like it does not work. It would not work. It cannot work literally and scientifically, right? Now, whether you think that yet or not isn't important, but let's just say that that's the case, right? Then we can't say we any longer. We, as humans, are figuring it out. No, there is a group of people that have convinced the larger group of people that they know something that actually isn't true, and they're telling them it's true. That's the first thing we need to get clear. Now, this
Hello,
group of people here, hello? Did you get cut
you
off?
hear me?
Hold on a sec. Can you hear me? Whoever that was.
Yeah, hello.
Whoever that was, someone else talk because he can't hear me. He can't hear me anyway. So what I was saying, Soul, is if that is the case, that the heliocentric model is just reverse engineered, not true at all, and we live on a stationary level Earth, just like it seems, like it's not the opposite of what it seems, right? Then that right there would be the cutoff point for the people that we're calling we. Now, the people that realize that the heliocentric model and the infinite space ever expanding, all that paradigm is not true, those people aren't we any longer because they're still believing in that paradigm that is falsifiable, completely falsifiable.
Yes. But to me, both are frankly ridiculous.
Both the
Both
flat Earth and the expanding universe Earth.
No, both an infinite universe and a finite universe.
I agree with you philosophically about that. So
None of
that's a
them
great
make
point.
sense.
Right. Well, yeah, but it doesn't. That's not as important as like your base axioms, right? You were just born on
Yeah,
this earth.
bring it back to the ground. Sorry to cut you,
Yeah,
but
your
it's like
base axioms. If you were
I
born on
hate
this
looking at the
earth,
sky. You could do it right here on the ground. Let's do like not even
well,
planes.
let me
Like
put
you
it
could
this
do
way
it on the
to him,
flat ground.
real
Yeah.
real quick. Hey, Soul, if you were just born on this earth, you were never told anything about space and the interpretation of the sky and none of that, right? You're just lived on this earth as a man, and you would assume that it's stationary and level because that's everything that you experience, right? You would assume that without the story about space and what the sky is
Yes.
doing and all, right? So,
Yes.
if you're gonna, think about it. You would think that that our whole reality is what they're telling us. There would be something self-evident about what they're telling us. Can you name one thing about being on a spinning ball, flying through space, and that whole story? Is there one thing about that without the interpretations that you've been taught about the sky and the sun and all that? What's one thing that you could say is self-evident that you have in your direct experience that would tell you that that's true?
Yes, the planet moving across the night sky that doesn't follow the pattern of the rest of the stars.
Right. But does that mean that you're on a spinning ball, or is that just what you see in the sky?
That's
No,
just
that's what I see in the
kinematics.
sky.
That's just
But
Yeah.
kinematics, man. Doesn't prove anything.
Yeah, that doesn't
no, it
mean you're
doesn't
on a
prove.
ball. Just because there's balls in the sky, that doesn't mean you're on a ball.
No, but if I would uh, put the sun in the center of the our world, and realize that these wandering stars um, travel have a weird travel path.
Sure, but you know that there's flat
Uh,
Earth. There's equivalencies for those kinematics, right? Like those movements can be explained over a flat Earth, or as the spinning ball with the whole conflation and reverse engineering they did to make you think that you're one of those things. You realize there's an equivalence, right? It doesn't have to be a spinning ball Earth for those planets to have their retrogrades and all that.
but what are the wandering stars then?
Well, that's the thing because you're attached to the explanation, right? Which is the story that they gave you. It's like if you have a little child and you tell them a fantasy that's easier for them to accept than the reality of whatever it is, right? They're scared. They need to have their little bedtime story to make them feel okay to go to sleep at night, right? Now, whether
Yeah.
that's true or not isn't as important as the kid having a good night's sleep. So you've been treated like a child and given this story, possibly, right? Just consider that's the story you're given, and it's an explanation. And then because there's no interpretation that we can say we know exactly what those things in the sky are, right? Because there's nothing on the other side for you to say, oh, I've got another story to believe in, right? Does that make it more true? No.
No, not necessarily.
Falsification is independent of replacement, right?
What bugs me um, about the moon landing is that NASA had 400,000 people on their payroll, and
Okay. So they would all
is
have to
that
be in on it, is what you're saying, right? They would all have to be in on it.
is that the biggest wrong? Not biggest. Is that the most expensive scam in the history?
Okay. So do you already know that the moon landing wasn't real? Are you already there at least? Or are you saying it couldn't be not real because there's to be too many people in on it?
My common sense says that. Oh, common sense. I'm thinking they had 400,000 people on the payroll in
Yeah.
order to make it happen,
Yeah.
and no one would pay that much money for years in order
If it was going to be a
for
lie,
us
you mean?
for a scam.
Dude,
Oh
this
yeah, but
guys
Yeah.
make
wait a minute. What they paid for is you believe it. That's what they paid for.
And
Think about it. You still
yeah,
think about the paradigm. If you create a paradigm, that's a pretty cheap price to change the paradigm of the way that everyone sees themselves as this little speck of dust that's in a swarm of other specks swirling around a universe. That's a pretty cheap price to control mankind and
Yeah, but
everything
that's
they
but
think.
what bugs me is there was it was just a big dick competition. Who got there first?
Yeah, that's
USA?
the narrative we were sold this narrative about the competition, and they had to win the space race, and that's the reason that, and they're even trying to like work that into, oh, that's the reason we had to fake it because we had to win the space race. Like there's that movie that came out recently with them talking about
Yeah.
faking it, right? So they're like kind of soft admitting it in some of these ways, but dude, that's part of the narrative, right? Oh, okay. So they faked the moon
They've been
landing.
doing
That's
that
okay because they
forever.
had
Yeah.
they did that. Yeah, they just give you two narratives. It's called subterfuge.
Well, that
These people are brilliant.
that movie was called Fly Me to the Moon, and they actually faked it because they didn't think the film would work on the moon. Uh, other than that,
Yeah. Oh, and then you know what? At the end, did you see that they thought about faking it? They were faking it at the same time, just in case the real footage wasn't good enough. But
that's
because the
exactly
real footage was good enough, they didn't have to go through with the fake.
well.
That's how they sold
Well,
it.
they did. They didn't.
What?
They were actually going through with the fake. They were trying to time it up perfectly with what they were doing on the moon, and what happened
Right.
was a black cat ran in on the set and knocked over all the CIA agents.
Yeah.
The thing is,
Everybody went
I
all
want.
crazy, and then they said, "Oh boy, are you guys really filming this?" And then Woody Harrelson.
Yeah. Good thing it was real.
Yeah,
Good thing the real thing was all right for everybody.
yeah. Good thing that film lasted and got through the Van Allen belts and worked in
Yeah.
400
Good
minutes.
thing
The
they
good
had
thing
a
is,
guy on the moon that was gonna tilt the camera up when the shuttle went back to rendezvous with the ship that took them back to Earth. Good
Yeah.
thing they had the little camera and how did they get the footage from the camera of the little shuttle that went up? You know, how did they get that footage back from the camera that was left on the moon?
Did you see the movie?
Yep.
no, I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen. Have you seen A New Perspective?
Yeah.
Man, did you hear the part where they said they had to weigh the screws and the guys all like shave the screws? We need to get so you're just
Yeah.
so you had to shave the screws to get the camera on there and whatever miraculous device you had to get Neil Armstrong in his first step on the moon there, but he also brought clubs and some golf balls. That should have messed with it.
Hey, Sold, do you know what they admitted to, or at least not admitted to? I shouldn't even say it that way. What they say was the amount of RAM that the computer on the ship that took them to the moon and orbited the moon like 20 times while the other guys were down there playing golf and riding a buggy around, and they came back, you know, all analog mostly because they only had the RAM of a speak and spell for their computer, like a
Yeah,
calculator. Do you think they
yeah.
were able to make it to the moon and then come back with all, you know, land in the ocean and all that with the amount of memory that a speak and spell has, like a calculator?
And they say it's too difficult to do it nowadays. Go back to
No,
They were
no,
lost
no. They
after
don't say
nothing,
that.
guys.
No, there's just no economical interest in.
But
If
did you get my
you,
point? How did
there's
they
no
make it
return
there
of
and
in.
back? How did they make it there
There's
and
no
back by
real.
looking out the window? How did they
No, but there's
calculate all of what they needed to calculate to get to the moon, to land on it,
no.
to rendezvous, to come back? Kidding me?
Can I
The
appeal to the
reason why
ground
they're not
again?
bringing
Just
back.
really quick for Soul. If you were to say, they say it's 8 inches per mile squared, right? You take a frozen lake, go over there, and if say you had a solid straight object that's a mile long, you should be able to balance it in the center, right? 8 inches, and it'd be 4 inches on either side. If water is always level and it freezes level, I would assume that would be something that could be done. So that's kind of a thought
It
experiment I take, just like in physical on the ground, depending on where you're at in the globe and the curvature of where you're supposed to be. But if you just take the average, there should be some measurable thing there. And
yeah, but it's relative to the core of the Earth, not relative to where you stand.
where would you say would be the best experiment to have one flat 1 mile? Because there's plenty of places,
Where
you know.
Yeah, wherever you are on the top of the hill.
I'd say the best experiment would be over a frozen lake.
Yeah.
Less refraction over the cold.
Yeah, but you're all wherever you are from your perspective, you're always on the top of the hill, on the top of the curvature. And as soon as you move, again, you're on the top of the curvature from your
Only on the
point of
macro
view.
scale.
Macro scale. What the heck?
Yeah, you're forgetting topography.
But it's not like you're skating uphill and then downhill. You're always on the top of the hill.
Yeah, but we see well beyond the geometric limitations imposed by the globe.
Oh, of course.
Well, just keep it to the flat ice. I'd love to hear Stone's opinion on this. If it's a flat
Mhm.
frozen lake, it should be flat. You're
Yeah, we
not
got.
going
I have a
downhill. You're not at the
demonstration.
top
I
of a
can give you
curve.
guys the source.
There's no high point in the lake. So
No, because wherever you stand on the lake, you're on the highest point relative
Wait,
to Earth.
so have you looked into some of these arguments that we're talking about? Like we see too far. Like, do you believe in refraction? Are you like a glober in that way? Like, do you know all the excuses?
I've been in an airplane and I've seen the curvature.
Okay, so that's where
I
you're at. Now
So my
that's
biggest feat is me in an airplane at 34,000 feet. No curvature observed at all.
yeah. The thing is that we have a couple reasons that you might think you saw the curvature from the airplane. Your eyes, first of all, you have a limited vision, and even just looking out from a high mountain might make you think you're seeing the curvature, right? Because we have a limit of our vision. We have a 360-degree limit of your vision. You can only see so far, and we also have the atmosphere and a lot of these other things that'll kind of give this tapering effect when you look out into the distance, right? But and you think that's curvature, and that's what they've made us think, right? But Neil deGrasse Tyson
that's
will
what
tell you
wait. That's what they made us think.
if
You think
it's not
someone
a
made
ball.
me think something I
Well, if it's
see?
not a ball, then it would be it would be a natural effect of your vision that makes that tapering effect, and they've used that to their advantage in convincing you that it's curvature. If it's not a ball, right? That would have to be the case, right?
Yeah.
Right. So if that is the case, then there's a certain limit that they're claiming would be the geometric start and end of the ball. That would be physical, right? But we go beyond the point where they say the ball should cut off. We see way too far, right? So then they have to say it's refraction of light and all these crazy out of this world excuses for why we see too far.
And it's really
But you
bad
think
too.
you've seen
It's
it's
really
really
bad.
bad.
Yeah, because
What's interesting, go ahead. I was going to say, add real quick though. We have a friend that hasn't come around for a while, but he's a French guy that used to work for a space agency, and he did a 2-scale modeling of what we should see from an actual airplane height, from an average airplane height. He did it. He's a software engineer. He used to work for a space agency. Convinced himself we still live on a ball, even after he realized the moon landing was fake and the ISS is fake, and they're doing all these things. He was still convincing himself that it's a ball because that was his job. But he was supplying the pictures that you might give to the guy that creates the blue marble and all that. And he realized they were coming from high altitude planes instead of satellites. And he still convinced himself it was a ball. And then it was the mechanical gyros on airplanes that finally put him over the edge, and he became a flat earther. But he did a simulation, like a flight simulator that used the actual numbers they give us for the ball and for the height of an airplane. And what he found is we would see a lots of curvature from a height of an airplane. We should see the leading edge of the ball. It should taper off drastically on the sides for the height that their airplanes go, and for the ball, the size they give us for the ball, we should see lots of curvature, ironically, from an airplane. So, if we were on a ball, you wouldn't just see what you thought was curvature. You would see a lot more curvature than you thought you saw.
Did you guys notice really quick? Sorry, did you notice that the icebreakers that they were talking about, that Trump was talking about building, like 48 new icebreakers that haven't made these ships in a long time? I thought it was kind of interesting, and Canada was wanting to get in on it. I thought we haven't seen ships like that built, and it would be funny. I wish we could all just like, everyone's always like, let's do the journey. It'd be awesome if we could have like a carnival of, you know, flat earthers all pitching in to just have a sick ass ship where we can go venture the world. But we all know about the treaty one.
Airships. Airships, yeah, awesome. The idea that maybe we did see a lot more land when the airships were available and people went all over the place.
Guys, it's 5:45 here. I have to go to sleep.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Sol. You seem like a cool guy, an intelligent person, and I don't think you're an atheist.
No, yeah, up to debate.
Think about it, man.
Well, hey, Sol, one last thing, what you were saying earlier about people getting away with raping and whatever else, do you really think they get away with it? I mean, I'm not saying does God punish them. I'm saying if you know the difference between right and wrong, like you wouldn't ever rape a woman because you know it's wrong, right? Intuitively.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you did that, you would live a life of shame and regret, and you wouldn't get away with it even with your own self, right?
Yeah, but think if you would have lived in, you know, this hill tribe, and you go down the valley to fight the other tribe. And
I mean, there's MS-13. There's gang members that do it. They don't care. You know, it's
well,
their
let him
life.
finish his
Yeah,
sentence,
but
guys.
do you envy those kind of people?
Guys,
they don't care about raping
4:90 here.
someone. What kind of life is that, right? That they don't
No,
get away
I
with it
don't
either.
envy them.
You guys,
yeah, so they don't get
it's
away with it
4-1
either.
here.
They have a
Let
pitiful
him-
life.
Dave, let him finish his sentences, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
you
what
live on
my
this.
point was. Nobody gets away with anything.
No, I don't. I'm not so sure. You live on this hill with your in your tribe, and then the other tribe gets too close or hunts on your land or whatever. You get in the quarrel.
So you
And
have to understand how God judges people, and like how he judges them
I do not
differently
know.
based on like what they've been raised with, what they think their morals are. Like you know, there's boundaries for everybody. Like if you're not exposed to something, how do you know
Okay,
it's wrong?
so this innocent kid who was raised Hindu, how does God judge him?
I would say by how he judges everybody, or how he says
exactly.
in the
Why
Bible
do we
how he judges
tell you how God
Yeah.
has what His plan is? That's God's judgment. If we knew how God was going to judge you,
No.
You know,
You can you now you're leaving the responsibility to someone else.
no, I'm leaving it to God. You want me to tell you how God's
Yeah.
supposed to judge you? I can't tell you that. I don't know what His process is. You think He came down there and told me what the process was? Come on, man.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. So your out of 6,000 religions, your religion is the
Well,
right.
first of all, I agree with you that there's too many religions, and I think religions are there to control people and take them further away from God. I don't believe in God has a house. I believe this is God's creation. You are God's creation. God is everywhere. You don't need to go to church. You can just believe in God and you'd be cool with it.
Yeah.
Sol.
Yes.
So before you go, because I know it's 5:45 there, so I just want to bring this topic up real quick. So about airplanes, right? Somebody mentioned airplanes. If you're gonna take anything from this conversation, at the very least, consider that your entire cosmology might be completely and utterly wrong, and also consider the possibility that not only could your cosmology be completely and utterly wrong, but that it could be used by the elites of this world to control you, to either limit where you can go because of resources or whatever else, or it could be for any other reason. At least take that conversation. right? Take it. Take it. If nothing else about God, just take that. You think you could do it?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I have I've been thinking a lot more recently.
That's good. So, like, for example, somebody mentioned airplanes, right?
Yeah.
So the cruising altitude would be like 25,000 feet on average, right? Commercial.
Yeah.
So do you know D equals H times R?
No. You need to
So
give
yeah, it's
me
just
what is D, what is H, what is R? I can do the math if you give me the
no. Yeah, I mean it's just okay. So distance equals height, right? Times radius,
yeah,
right? We're talking about the radius of
yeah,
the Earth, which is
yeah, yeah,
3,959, right? So if a plane is say 25,000 feet up in the air, right? Now
yeah,
keep in mind that supposedly you already have boats that disappear over the horizon because of curvature, and that's nothing compared to what you would see 25,000 feet in the air. Would you agree?
yes,
Okay, so picture this, for example. So you got 25,000 feet, right? Now, in order to convert that into miles, right, let's just kind of divide that by 5,280. Okay, so now we got that.
if you want me to, if you want to make me a favor, you convert it to meters.
No. Yeah, okay.
But
Okay. No, just for the sake of conversation, because I know you're about to
yeah,
go.
yeah,
So I just
yeah,
want to say
yeah,
you convert it into miles, right? And then you multiply it by
yeah,
the radius. So now we're talking about the horizon, 18,745 feet away, if you convert it into feet.
yeah,
Okay. Now you can convert into miles, but just for the sake of it, I'm talking about feet. You're cool?
yeah.
So that's the distance
Cool.
between that plane and the horizon. Now, if you're in that plane and you don't see any curvature at all, but the people supposedly can see curvature just by looking at ships going over the horizon, but from that altitude, you don't see any curvature, and you're seeing a distance that large in scale. Would you think that, well, if I'm seeing everything leveled from the plane down, there is no reason why anybody should, number one, say that ships disappearing over the horizon is due to curvature. That's number one. But also that number two, you're not seeing curvature. There is no curvature. Would you agree?
No, I have seen curvature. I have been in airplanes.
And
That's
you've seen curvature.
that's the point he's
Yes.
making. Like you said, you liked Neil deGrasse Tyson, right?
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah, he did an interview when he was discussing why some wannabe astronaut went up in the Blue Origin, and when she came back down, she said that she was disappointed because she couldn't see any curvature of the Earth, and she was 330,000 feet up in the air there allegedly. And
So what did he see?
well, Neil deGrasse Tyson said, "Well, that's only about 2 millimeters above this beach ball here, so you're not high enough to see curvature of the Earth. That stuff is flat."
Have you been in an
No.
airplane?
So here's my point. I'm going to get to the bottom line before you go.
That's an
My point is
Yeah.
just that, when you have people who say that we know for a fact that Earth has curvature, and they bring up the same old arguments like ships going over the horizon, right? So, number
Yeah.
one, if ships going over the horizon is due to a massive Earth bulge, but you can't actually see Earth curvature 300,000 feet in the case with Blue Origin, or in my case with just a freaking airplane, right? What makes anybody think that that's a good argument? Don't you see a lot of inconsistencies with globe logic alone?
Yeah, if you can't see it at 330,000 feet, you definitely didn't see it at 30,000 feet. And this is Neil deGrasse Tyson, the boy you just said
Or
you
on
love.
ground level with ships going over the horizon. So why does anybody use that argument?
I'm kind of out of
Yeah.
out of shape.
I appreciate your time, Soul, man. You've been a good sport about it. I hope you look into some of this stuff. And
If we do this during weekdays when I'm not on my Friday
I do.
boost,
We're around all the time. You never know, man.
yeah, I follow a bunch of you, so
You do.
I'll
You
probably
sound tired,
find
man. You sound like you're about on your last.
Peace out, soul.
breath.
Peace out. Just something to think about. If
Yes.
nothing, take that. That argument about the plane, blue origin, you can't see any curvature. Why would you think you can see curvature when looking at a ship going over the horizon? Just take that.
Yeah, you should look into that Neil deGrasse Tyson, man. He said you couldn't see curvature from that height. That stuff would be flat.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Take 10 minutes out of your day and just pretend, just for 10 minutes, right? Pretend that the reason that you don't feel like you're spinning is because you're not spinning. Just let that soak in for 10 minutes and just say, oh, okay, well, that's the reason. Now, what would that mean?
Occam's razor.
It is Occam's razor. Do you know what Occam's razor's definition is? When you got two.
Yeah, the easiest way.
You got two answers to the same question there. The one with the least amount of assumptions is going to be your correct answer.
The water flows the easiest way.
Pardon?
Water flows the easiest way.
Water flows downhill, man. Seeks its level.
It seeks its level.
But it flows
And nobody knows what refraction is.
Hey, speaking of water flow, if the Earth is spinning west to east,
I'm trying to go to sleep here.
Don't you think that the water would flow with the spin of the Earth?
Give it up, Dave.
Yeah, he said water flow. The water would flow with the spin of the Earth, right? All the water would go in one direction.
Dave, my man, calm down. He's got enough.
No,
okay,
I had to add that. Sorry.
Let's go. I'll stay here till 6 a.m.
No, you're good, man. You're good. No, it's actually getting late for me too, man. It's like 10 o'clock. Been going for like 30. So I'm gonna be here anyway.
My microwave says 5:55.
Well, I'm in the United States here, and I got 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, and I've been up since really early in the morning. I'm almost. But anyway, appreciate you. You've been a good sport, man. Hope you come back. We'll probably be here.